Let it be known I gave my life to this music. You couldn't fucking comprehend how much I've sacrificed to it. Sitting in silence like a druid, sacrament producing pineal fluid. With both darkness and light I am congruent. Every line that I compose within my mind I imbue it with the fires alive inside me. It's a primal communion, which would explain the kind of viewers I got tuned in. The kind of shit that you find terrifying, we probably find amusing. What kind of drugs you've been abusing to have you so disillusioned is to think if you challenge a Maxxx you are a loser. I'm a freight train barreling down the tracks. Translation, if you're in my way I won't stop just cause you aren't moving. There ain't a juggalo alive not on the hatch of rapping like me. Somebody challenge that, it won't be hard to prove it. Fuck a clout chase, I don't care who you're cool with. I lay vocals in the lotus pot before most of you children even started whooping. You think this shit's a game, Mad Maxxx, motherfucker, where'd I get that name? I respect why I ain't get that chain, but all this hound dogging and shit, I'm like when the juggalos get that lame. It goes round and round and around and round and round and round and around and round and round and round and around and round and round, and the merry-go-round broke down. Shit I've had to go through as a juggalo rapper, bro, you wouldn't fucking believe me if I told you. So I take all my indignation for these situations and I feed them the studio on the Pro Tools. The fuck else am I gonna do? Nobody cares, yeah, they'll comment on the flyer, then the show happens with nobody there. I see legends on the stage, floor mostly is bare. Nobody head bopping a mosh and they just openly stare. All these newcomers around that are just stoked to be there. Look, I ain't saying you should quit, I just hope you're prepared. They'll have you on stage to perform soon as they open the door. You pay to play, go straight to the artist you're opening for. Cat that you're so elated to share the stage with, they won't watch you play or even learn your name cause they think that you ain't shit. You think they give a fuck which album is your favorite if they have it their way once they get paid to leave with the chick that you came with? This ain't a game for the weak. A lot of wolves in wool hats making prey of the sheep. Dreaming of fame is only useful if you're staying asleep. Been doing this for 20 fucking years, take it from me. It goes round and round and around and round and round and round and around and round and round and round and around and round and round, and the merry-go-round broke down. I'll say it till my face is purple. The merry-go-round broke down and now we're all pacing in circles. Don't think I know how it goes down, bro. People with kids whose life revolve around the gathering and clown shows, but never can be found at underground shows. Well, you don't get clout tokens for being seen hanging around those, so why would you bother, you fucking vultures? Knives out, beats bloody, pecking the carcass of the cultures. This shit's so real to me, you can't imagine. So much that's happened, only cause I'm a juggalo rapping. Where you think my children came from? How you think I wound up in Massachusetts? Juggalo rappers, all my ass has been doing since after the gathering back in 2004. Thought 100 underground shows and I would do 1,000 more. You think I'm fucking playing, bro? I'm just a juggalo, that's all this boils down to. Bury me in my face paint in my clown shoes. I will not be denied in the face of carnival magic. I have honestly cried. All I'm saying is if my ex-wife tells you she ain't divorced because I'm a juggalo rapper, then I promise she lied. It goes round and round and around and round and round and round and around and round and round and round and around and round and round, and the merry-go-round broke down. That's funny. Turn off television for now. Hey!
What up?
The fuck is good?
How's it going?
It's pretty good. I gotta tell you, I ain't watched that video in a while, and that was pretty fucking funny because you can tell at the end when my son is like shaking Fago on me and whatnot, they were having a good time that day. It wasn't like dad's dragging me along to a video shoot. Like, it was fun. They had a good time. And so, so when we're sitting there against the wall, he's got just this deadpan face. And it makes me think because this was a few years ago now, it makes me think that was his idea of looking tough. Just look like you don't care. Exactly. And again, it's just, I think it's really funny. It was very effective. I think it worked very well just overall, but no, that was a fun experience just because doing it was very it felt very cathartic after
like so many years of doing like just, performing out there. Which, I mean, I played the Palladium a bunch of times. I've only actually played main stage on my own Steam one time. But that was also a Rock and Shock the last time they did that in Worcester. And I got a picture of that, but it's me and Tier Diaz on stage, which I could be wrong. I need to fucking clarify this with him, but I think that was the first time that he had ever played with ICP, which I had nothing to do with them getting introduced. He made that happen all on his own. But the fact that it happened that way, I always thought was pretty remarkable. That's a great show too. Yeah, man. Say again? Oh, yeah, no, Tierra's the fucking man, bro. Like, there are very few people in this business, or whether or not the business, the scene, whatever you want to call it, this community, that are really talented, really driven, and really solid and decent as a person. Tierra is definitely, and don't get me wrong, he has his quirks like everybody does, but he's one of the few people that has always been solid with me. We have, like, every opportunity that he's on a stage, pretty much we played together. The only reason why I didn't do any of our songs at the Gathering last year is because apparently there was some kind of like data issue, like the files were corrupted or whatever. I honestly don't know. I still had a great time hyping for him. It was actually funny where, I don't know if you watched the fucking the little mini documentary he put out, but in the middle of me trying to say, oh yeah, guess who fucking performed on all 3 official Gathering stages the first fucking day? Me. And I don't know if anybody's ever done that before, but I know that I did do that. But in the midst of saying that, as though God wanted to say, hey, you're an asshole, stop trying to fucking pat yourself on the back, I tripped over a speaker and fucking, again, on main stage in front of fucking however many people were there. And but Tier, showman that he is, used that opportunity as I was laid out, like, oh, that's what I get. And he fucking pinned me and somebody counted the 1, 2, 3. And it was, that shit was dope. It was a good time. The Gathering is a fucking weird place, man. Like, I've said this to a couple of people and I genuinely believe it. The Gathering is a Vietnam that I choose to return to.
A Vietnam you choose to return to.
Yeah.
I mean, shit, there aren't many places aside from Vietnam where people are tripping on acid as explosions go off around them. So
exactly.
Shit.
You want to know what? It's funny you would say that because that is a very apt description. I actually came to the conclusion, and this is unfortunate for anybody that's been hit by a firework at the Gathering, but I was also on a lot of mushrooms when I said this, but I firmly believe that gatherings fireworks only go off at the Gathering when they're supposed to. You just have to be paying attention or out of the way. However, if you're the kind of asshole that would throw a fucking mortar at main stage and not pop it into the sky like a decent human being, you suck shit, and I hope they stomp the fuck out of you when they catch you. That's what I think.
Or if you're one of the dumb motherfuckers that thinks you can just launch a mortar off a fucking board without securing that shit somehow, and then it goes sideways into the crowd.
Well, so here's the thing. This is all right. So here's the problem. This is where I will bump on that, but only just. So I don't know if y'all know the homie Uriah from is it Columbus? Fucking, I can't remember which city it is in fucking Ohio that he lives in, but he's done this just legendary 4th of July party every year. I had heard about it for many years. I was never privy to it up until, was it this last summer? I think it was. And so here's the problem, that on one hand, generally speaking, I do think that you're right if you're going to do like a full on, like, professional level, like whatever. But this guy, it was a crazy experience just because, first of all, the amount of fireworks that these guys had was fucking staggering. And apparently it was a light year. They had like half or a third of what they usually have. And a lot of what also happened by the end of it, because it's like fuck cleaning it up, was a lot of the cardboard things that they go off in, because these were pretty big, pretty good fireworks, but it was going off like wild for like, Jesus Christ. How many hours was it? 2, 3? It's solid. Like literally, fireworks didn't stop going off for 3 hours straight. And then you did when it's done, you throw the fucking you throw the empty boxes into the fire, and wouldn't you know it, sometimes some of them didn't go off in the whole box. So like I can't, and to his credit, every single time anything caught fire or exploded, I swear to God, Uriah would just jump in front of it like he was a fucking like he was a firefighter or some shit. And what he said, and I quote, was like, "Oh, it's just like at the gathering," which again is true. Which is, if you see an explosion happen and you're able to get in between it and somebody like, you know, small or feeble or whatever, then that's a good thing to do. But otherwise, again, I genuinely maintain fireworks at the gathering are a tricky thing because they'll say it every single year. I actually heard Shaggy say once, fucking, if we ever get kicked out of Legend Valley and they stop letting us gather there, fireworks will be the reason why. So
yeah, 100%. But you say small and feeble. I've had to stand in front of 6'2" motherfuckers. Like, don't worry, you're gonna be okay, buddy. So
okay. Well, then, yeah. Well, but so what I will respond to that with, sir, is they are still small and feeble. They just happen to be tall.
Yeah, they're feeble inside.
Exactly. Come on. First of all, if you're the kind of person that would just let somebody stand in front of some shit that you're doing because like, oh, don't worry, you'll be fine, you suck. Like, come the fuck on. What are you talking about?
No, I'll like pull people into the crowd. I'll be like, come up with me. They're like, no, I'm scared of getting hit by shit. I'm like, no, I got you, bro. I'll fucking stand in front of you.
I will tell you this
before it can touch you.
I will tell you this. The gathering pits are a little bit more gnarly than they used to be. I actually was just saying this, provided that I make it to the gathering this year, which is 1,000% my plan, but life often throws me curveballs, and literally up until the week of, you never know. Like it would not, if the decision to gather was made the week of the gathering, it would not be the first time that happened. Like at least twice, if not 3 times, my decision to gather was made very, very close to the date. So it's like, who's to say? But if it does happen, I'm going back in the pit this year. I haven't been in a gathering pit in like probably more than 10 years at this point because I'm old as fuck. I'm 40 years old. So when I was 30 years old and I had already been in the fucking gathering pit a bunch of times, I was like, hey, I'm old and my back and my neck hurt and I can't fucking breathe like I used to. So I'm going to hang back and watch all y'all fuck around, and we'll see what happens next year. But this year, I feel like it's been too long. I feel like I haven't gotten down like that for real in a while. But I will say, last year again was a very interesting year because I firmly believe the gathering is one of these kinds of like, well, first of all, I believe that the gathering is chaos personified. I don't know that there is a better representation of chaos than the gathering. And I say that in the sense of like, say again.
Woodstock 99.
Okay, so Woodstock 9. Imagine if Woodstock 99 happened in a smaller capacity once a year, basically. Like, I would agree with that.
I'm just saying Woodstock 99 was fucking way more vicious.
Well, okay, so here's the thing. The reason why Woodstock 99 was more vicious and something that a lot of people don't want to admit is that the Juggalo community is not that vicious. It's not that violent. It's not that destructive. It's not. We've never been the ones to fuck up the dinosaurs. That's been the hippies or whoever the fuck else, the drum and bass kids.
Those aren't even hippies. Those are a little like.
Well, you know what? Okay, so you know what I mean, though. Like EDM kids, basically. That is most of what's going on out there these days. Steve Trickle makes a lot of fucking money on those guys. I mean, because not for nothing, they on some real shit. I saw a video the other day. I did maybe a few months ago. Who fucking knows? And it was Lost Lands, I believe, which that's where the dinosaurs come from for Legend Valley, and. I saw there were 2 different stages. I can't remember their names now, but there was one that had this big, like, circular fucking, like, structure built. Yes, thank you. And then there was another one, bro, just those 2 stage sets, let alone security, fucking vending, the artists, all that. Just those 2 stage sets cost more than the last fucking 3 gatherings combined. Like,
yeah,
are you kidding me?
You can't even smoke while you're walking around there. You can't.
Oh, I know. And you want to know what? That's the funny thing about it, because when you really, well, because bro, it shows exactly how much the gathering is meant to be. This like something I don't think a lot of people consider is that a large amount of the people that work the gathering every year, I don't know if they get paid. I think they probably get some money at least.
They get a little bit of money, and a lot of them just get tickets within shit and like.
Well, and by the way, this is exactly what I'm saying. Is that's why the people at the front gate. Like, look, I'm going to tell it straight out like it is. And the reason why I feel comfortable to do that is because literally the day the gathering ended, and I think it was either the day the gathering ended or maybe it was in the middle of the gathering. I could be wrong. Shaggy was having a conversation with Parker Mullins from D-Town, and they posted the video, and Shaggy literally said sneak in. He literally said just sneak in. Yeah, I can't remember the context, but he was like, or just sneak in.
And I'm
going to tell you right now, bro, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, please.
I buy a ticket to support. It ends up going into the next gathering, well, most of it, fucking however. But I've brought people in, dude. Like, I fucking snuck people right past the guards. You just wait till those guards at the main gate turn away, and you just walk past them.
Yeah, first of all, bro, I'm just going to tell you, number one, multiple times over multiple years, I have looked the security in the face as I walked in, sneaking in. And the whole thing is the way that it works, like this last year, the homie got in as he was carrying my fucking merch bin. And literally as we walked in, security said to them, "Oh, is there a bomb in there?" You're like, no, we're all good. Walked right in. Didn't check nothing, didn't care. And you want to know what? This is what I'm saying. At any other event, they absolutely would. They would be very, very stringent about that shit. But at the gathering, you want to know what? They're like, hey, these guys they run their own shit. They do their own thing. So whatever it is they're going to do, they can regulate it. Like, not for nothing, but there is a pretty big reputation the Juggalos have, which is we self-police. Juggalo justice. If you fuck around, we will literally flip your car over. So at that point,
incorporate a little bit of that, though. It's kind of
okay. So this is the question, because I understand what you're saying. A lot of people have said that, but let me ask you, what is the line? Like, what specifically are you talking about?
I think too many dudes get away with being creepy as fuck toward chicks.
Okay.
They'll just get yelled at and pushed out of the way. No, we should beat their ass. Anybody that's stealing shit, if you see that shit, I call that shit out. I go, hey, who's this motherfucker? Get these people.
Listen, bro, no, go ahead, please.
People like to argue there. People like to start a lot of shit over who deserves what. Does this guy deserve a beat down or what? I mean, if somebody throws a fucking unopened can into the crowd, yeah, throw one right back in their fucking face from 10 feet away.
So listen, yes, exactly. Now listen, this is what I'm going to tell you, because this last year was an interesting year for me. I feel like this year my purpose at the gathering was to perform the first day, which is, again, like I said, I performed all 3 stages the first day. That's something I'll take with me in my fucking grave, bro. I don't know if anybody else has ever done that. And I was not only was I officially booked, I was the first act of the gathering this last year, and I was credited with chasing away one of the fucking acts that was supposed to come before me because the fucking guy was not supposedly convicted of having done some pedophile shit. And
you're talking from that fucking band, right?
Yes. All I did was make a Facebook post and be like, hey, this is kind of fucked up, right? Like, I don't know that we should support this. And then they literally were like, oh, we're not going to play now. And then Stockwell introduced me as like, so yeah, this guy is going to be the first act of the gathering because the guys that were supposed to be the first act got chased away by him. So like, that was a great experience. But outside of that, a lot of people gathered this year that would not have gathered otherwise if A, I didn't play, or B, I didn't bring them. So I had like that to me, because again, I'm not going to go into the details of it, but I basically melted my brain in the hotel room and I just didn't go and like really hang out all that much. I made it down for fucking main stage the last night, but I've gathered so many times that again, like I said, the short version is that I melted my brain. But one way or another, the gathering is just this kind of place where, like, again, things happen the way that they're supposed to. And also, a lot of people act like this is their time because they don't have any agency or any kind of like, and power might be the wrong word, but they really don't have that much agency over their lives. And so at the gathering, that's where they decide that they're important. That's where they decide that they're going to use whatever thing it is that they like. They got a lot of weed, or they camp with a bunch of people in the same spot. Like, I've seen shit where people want to tell me like, oh, I camp with camp such and such. You ain't never heard of us? Nah, bro, I ain't never heard of you. And I like, and by the way, I will forget whatever name you tell me 10 minutes from now. So like the idea that you would want to try to like people that go to the gathering to be like that guy at the gathering, I think that's corny as fuck. If you're the kind of person that's been going for years, like perfect example, the homie Boppo. I don't know if y'all know him. I did the last episode of the Carnival Grounds I did with him. Dreadhead Juggalo, been to every gathering pretty much except last year. Although he was there in spirit, first of all, but he was also on the background of the gathering stage, the whatever the name of the stage was that I played on.
I know what they're talking about.
Yeah, so he was on that mural, but so he'd been dealing with a lot of shit. He wasn't able to go. And after 20 something fucking years, I think you get a pass. But or however many years it was, I don't fucking know. But so point being, he is somebody that people recognize. Where my favorite game to play at the gathering from like usually the first day is how long can I walk without somebody walking up to me and telling me, hey, how are you doing? And knowing who I am. How long can I go? The farthest that I made it was from the top of the parking lot grass to the bottom of the hill. That's the furthest I've made it so far. But Boppo couldn't have even made it a quarter of the way across there without 3 different people coming up to him. But here's the thing. He did not set out to do that. It just happened that way. There's a lot of people now who are basically trying to be that guy at the gathering. And it's just like, I come from a time before we spun the wheel. I came from a time before we showed our buttholes. The gathering used to just be like a place where like, if you shouted fucking honk for sugar at somebody, like, bro, that shit barely happens anymore. Barely anybody honks for sugar at the gathering anymore. And I'm like,
sugar, you bastards.
I'm for real, bro. I can remember at the gathering in 2003 and 2004, that shit, I can't remember exactly how long it was, but for at least like 15, 20 minutes straight. Just everybody for as far as you could hear, just honking and screaming, honk for sugar, and different variations of that insanity. Like and you want to know what? Something else that bothers me. I don't know if y'all noticed this, and I'm not sure how old you guys are. I'm fucking 40. I went to my first show in 2000. Nobody fucking chants at shows anymore. Like, am I crazy? Nobody fucking does that shit no more. And I don't understand why.
Don't pop off as naturally, and I don't fuck with it. When
not at all. The only one is, the only
you made real quick. Please. I do agree with you that a lot of people do push for that, that clout. They try to like swing their dicks around and act like they mean something. But at the same time, I respect the fuck out of the fact that in our community, even the number one jackass, somebody who honestly doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about, their voice still means something, because like most of us, as you said, like in everyday life, bro, look at me. I fucking like this shit, but I go out in public, people give me looks, people hear what I have to say, and they fucking just in one ear out the other if they even listen that far. It's nice to go to the gathering and be like, hey, we should fucking this, or that means that, whatever, and people actually, I don't know, value that.
I mean, well, so listen, this is what I'll tell you. I definitely do agree that the Juggalo community as it stands is a good place to, excuse me. The Juggalo community is a good place to have, like different strange opinions. I admit. But at the same time, I think that one of the real issues with Juggalo culture is that too many people think that it's all built on like this one specific thing, whatever it may be. Like it's built on, I love Insane Clown Posse, or I love Twisted, or I love Ouija Mac, or
acceptance, or we're all about getting fucked up, or you're not Juggalo if you're not filthy.
Well, no, exactly. No, and by the way, case in point, my thing is, I remember back in the day, it was like pretty common, but it was also Nowadays, apparently, people are way less ready to call it out and be like, no, that's fucked up. But back in the day, like, if somebody was to say, hey, show your tits. Oh, I don't want to show my tits. Oh, you ain't down. That's fucking, first of all, it's predatory. And second of all, it feels like nowadays it's a little bit more common, mainly because the gathering turned into a place where, listen, here's an unpopular opinion. I don't give a fuck. People can say what they want to say about it. Wacko, however long ago, it was like last year, he was talking about he kind of doesn't like the show your butthole thing. And I'm not going to lie, I don't mind nudity at the gathering. I don't. It's like that kind of festival at other festivals, like EDM festivals, it's a little bit more classy, but they do the exact same thing.
All the shit to get angry about, though, anuses.
Well, okay. Oh, you want to know what? Here's the problem, bro. No, listen, let me tell you something. I'm going to tell you something. I would agree with you if people didn't bring their fucking kids. Everybody insists. They insist. They will tell you that you are an asshole for implying that bringing their child to the gathering makes them a bad parent. I'm going to say it on record again because I've said it a few times now. If you bring a child younger than 16 years old, and frankly, I could even push it further than that, I think you shouldn't go to the gathering until you're 17. I frankly, and not even on some juggalo shit, I really feel like that age, that's the furthest that you can get where it's really, at 17 years old, if you haven't fucking seen anybody smoke weed or watch porn at that point, you're living a fucking sheltered life. I doubt you would find the gathering anyway.
But the thing is, there are some kids that like grew up in more of a lifestyle and like their parents take care of them and shit when they're there. But that's like 10% of people, dude.
Well, yeah, but okay, so here's the problem with that. Again, this is why I say my son's going to turn 16 this year, and I'll tell you right now, I would not bring him to the gathering even once he turned 17 unless he really started listening to the music and he convinced me that he loved, respected, and understood the culture. Because then at that point, there's actually a reason for him to go. It's not just, I want to go to some fucking crazy party and have a fun time and do all this shit. Again, the gathering is something that, again, juggalos are not something that are easy to quantify. They're not something that's easy to explain. It's a community that is built on righteousness, but also violence. That doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense that there should be a cross. Exactly. But this is also my point that, frankly, like perfect example, there was at side stage before I fucking performed last year, there was a young lady who was, getting pretty fucking wild. And the short version is the only reason why I did not pipe her out right then and there is because I knew there were kids around, because there were fans of mine who I knew that told me they were coming who bring their kids. So I'm looking at it I'm not doing anything wrong if I'm fucking in public at the gathering. No, not really. I mean, that's what we do. But still,
it puts a hesitance in you.
But how awesome is it? If you bring a kid to the gathering, what you are saying is, I don't care if my kid sees somebody fucking somebody else in public. That's not the same as pornography, for the record. It's not the same thing.
There are the parents that if they even see that shit sort of happening, they pull their kid away.
By the way, that is not to say, again, constitutionally, and I hate the fact that I have experience to know that this is true. The Constitution is what gives us the right to raise our children however the fuck we want to raise them. So you want to know what? Technically speaking, if you can convince whoever it is that you're talking to that there is a reason for what you're doing and your child is not imminently in danger in that moment, then hey, that's how you want to do it. But I personally don't think I think that the gathering would become bigger and would make more money if they turned it into an 18 and over fest. Because the fact of the matter is, people would finally know, oh, we can go there and act a fool and pull our fucking genitals out and not have to worry that there are fucking children around us. Like, it is what it is. I know that they're going to do it the way that they're going to do it. They're going to continue doing it because they bank on the fact that people are going to bring their kids. And here's the other part. I know some people that will keep their kids either with a sitter at the hotel and they'll just bring them down for main stage so they can see the clowns, and then they bring them right back. And guess what? Between the entrance and the main stage, not that much craziness. Sometimes there's some craziness. There's drug sales going on, but kids don't really know about that shit, not unless you're pointing at it to them. So at that point, like, my whole deal is just that juggalos can be responsible. I have seen it. We are actually renowned for having the cleanest fucking drugs in the festival scene. That fucking seems like an oxymoron, but it's true. So, like, I'll tell you right now, I am stupid enough to have just walked up and bought shit from the first dumb motherfucker I saw when I walked into the gathering, and it turned out to be fine because I just trust juggalos. I'm fucking dumb. And that's not to say that I'm dumb for trusting juggalos, but I am dumb. I am definitely dumb for taking the first thing that I fucking bought without testing it. I did do that.
And not knowing the dude.
Yeah, exactly. It's extremely
on his neck and a hatchet man on his arm.
Oh no, well, so I was good. To be fair, this guy looked like he was older. So, and again, that's one of the funny things about the situation is that the juggalo community, a lot of the older cats like me, I stick around because I have so much fucking pride in this scene that no matter what the fuck happens, unless we really did find out that like the clowns or whoever were really involved in some like Epstein level shit, outside of that, I can't see any reason why I would ever be like, nah, I can't fuck with that community no more. Like, and to me, I'm writing a book and I put something like this in there recently where like, I firmly believe if you are truly a juggalo, you will be a juggalo until the day that you die, whether you represent it or you don't. And I also believe that if you can get to a point where you can say fuck juggalos with hate in your heart, then you never really were one. Because if you were here for the right reasons,
juggalos with hate in my heart.
Well, no, listen, certain juggalos. Oh no, please understand, certain juggalos are like whether or not, and this is the problem, whether or not they are juggalos isn't up to us. So that part of it is fucked up. But at the same time, the juggalo family is just like literally every other community on the planet, which means there's a wide swath of good and bad. It's all gray. You can never really nail it down. But the fact is that at least one thing that I like about this community is that we wear our dysfunction on our sleeve. So we let everybody know right out front, this is my problem. So if you think that this is something that you can contend with, we can be friends. Otherwise, look, I'm just keeping it real with you. This is who the fuck I am. So like, it's a tricky thing because again, some people hide out in this community specifically because of radical inclusion. It's like, oh, we accept everybody. So that's why it bothers me where people freak out every time that we find out that there's somebody within our ranks that's genuinely a piece of shit. Like, what did you think was going to happen if we said literally everybody can come in?
I've made this point several times over. There's two big reasons that we have a higher rate of that shit in the community. And one is, as you said, the idea of acceptance that we push. Some people get the wrong idea or use that to their advantage. Yeah. And then the other part is juggalos. Just by nature, a lot of us grew up either with druggy parents or we got fucking molested or we got beat on in school or traumatic shit, which as much as anybody might not want to admit it, that tends to lead to a higher rate of shitty fucking adults too.
Oh yeah. No, listen, I'll tell you something right now. First of all, as sad as it is, most of the time people that are molested, not most of the time, that is not the correct fucking statistic. Yeah, however,
it's more common that somebody that
exactly. Well, no, but what I'm saying is this. It happens often enough that somebody that has been molested will molest themselves. But that's not the point that I'm making. What I'm saying is that, again, in this community, and it's also, again, the reason why in this community it's a little bit more pronounced is because, again, we all wear our dysfunction on our sleeve, but that's a dysfunction that nobody is going to be okay with. And the whole thing is, that's like every time that it comes out that somebody was that way, it's like, number one, it always ends up being somebody where it's like, yeah, I believe that. Like fucking Flip Flop and fucking
I've actually heard a lot of people say Flip Flop didn't do anything and that was a whole lot of garbage pushed on him by other people.
You want to know what? Here's the thing. Something like that, I would be curious to find out what the actual truth is because you're right. Something like that. By the way, I have pretty publicly had to deal with pretty serious fucked up like fake allegations in my life where like I definitely understand. And it's like you should definitely always verify shit. With Flip Flop, I assumed that it was true when I finally heard whatever it was he had been accused of, I believe that it was true because he stopped coming around. Like,
they said he was sucking toes like while women were asleep and shit, but a bunch of people said that they were around and they were around him like the whole time and shit and didn't see him do nothing fucking weird. Because that guy, he just genuinely, he'll go up to you and ask if he can suck your toes.
oh, well, no, by the way, I'm fully aware. I was around before he showed up. I was around when he was there. And so, like, I'm aware of it. But
the community.
well, listen, I'll also tell you, I saw a picture from a Juggalo day, however many years ago, where fucking him, Shane Coates, and his wife were all sucking each other's toes in a circle. And quite frankly, when all has been said and done, as far as that trio of people, it's not a good look for fucking any of them. And again, but here's the thing. This is what I'm going to tell you. Because back in the day, when I was gathering at first, like, 2003, 2004, 2006, those were my first three. That was back in a time where Juggalos were like, dog, it's crazy to me that Juggalos even still have the reputation of like, oh, we're wild and crazy. Because, bro, Juggalos now would literally be afraid to gather at the gatherings that we used to fucking have. Like, I literally think about it like this. So let me preface this by saying, if I was to say the name Toad, do you guys know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, I've heard.
Okay, fair enough. Fact of the matter is, every year there's a rumor that this dude shows up. Whether or not he shows up, I don't know. I don't know what he looks like. I only recognize his paint because it was very conspicuous. It was very specific. But the fact of the matter is, the fact that Juggalos never went and found that dude and stomped the fucking shit out of him to make sure he would never even think to come back speaks to what things are at right now. Because
that brings me back to something I wanted to hop in with. Is Juggalos are far too scared to fight each other now. Maybe scared isn't the word.
Well, here's the thing. Juggalos, you still see it happen occasionally. Like, there's always videos of fights at the gatherings, but like,
respects me. It doesn't, I'm not a piece of shit because I punch him in the mouth. I don't give a fuck that it's the gathering. If you're gonna be a disrespectful little bitch, or you're gonna try to creep on my woman, I'm gonna fuck you up because we're just people, dog. We're Juggalos. I'm gonna beat your ass for it.
Now, bro, fact of the matter is, the people act at the gathering, again, like just because we're at the gathering, that means that you ain't got to act like you've been there and don't have to be respectful in general. Like, the whole thing is that Juggalos have always been the kinds of people that dumb the fuck out. And so because of that, people think that means you can just show up and like, look, I'm going to tell you, it's actually sad. The homie fucking Reverend Television that does the podcast with me, he was the one that pointed this out to me, and I really do agree. Like, what happened was we eventually made it to Cave in Rock, which is apparently trying to have like some kind of renaissance now. I don't know what the fuck is going on there. But so basically, the culture had built itself into this thing that was just fucking unrecognizable. Like, nobody had ever seen anything like this. Like, the Deadheads could never have been anything like this because they didn't get down on like wickedness or evil. Like, so, which is not to say that Juggalos are wicked or evil inherently, but
you forget how many Hell's Angels used to show up to Deadhead events. There was a mixture of it in there.
Listen, no, I'm not saying, no, by the way, I'm not saying that there wasn't fucking fights or violence or nonsense. What I'm saying is that Juggalos back then, it was a much more lawless kind of like atmosphere. And so because of that, that's where Juggalo justice came from. Because in any group of Juggalos, yeah, we're going to watch everybody dumbing out and doing all the fuck shit that they do. But eventually, we got to a point where by 2007, 2008, when we started to gather at fucking Cave in Rock, that would be like, what am I thinking here? First guy, so 8 gatherings in, what that technically means is that if you had just graduated high school, or even let's just say, because back in those days, like you were 15 or 16 and you went to your first gathering in 2003. By the time the 2008 gathering was happening, either you had kids or your friends had kids. And once you have kids, that is going to make a big difference about are you going to handle it correctly or are you a piece of shit? And here's the problem. A lot of people decide to take the piece of shit route. And especially that does happen in the Juggalo world. Because here's the problem. At a place like Lost Lands, I don't think they would let you walk in with a baby. I don't know how that works, but I kind of feel like if you tried to walk in with a stroller, does somebody be like, no, like that's unacceptable. You can't come in here. But I have literally, with my own eyes, watched a woman walk by with a baby on her hip that could not have been more than 4 months old. And
There
that
was
to
a
me,
lady this year at the gathering. She had a baby in a fucking red wagon. She was dragging through the parking lot in the fucking hot sun, laying on its back, dude. That shit's bumpy as fuck. It was hot as fuck. That baby couldn't have been older than a year. You remember that shit, right, Phoebe? Yeah, it was just in a diaper too. Had
bro,
sunburn. And
this
shit.
is what I'm saying, bro. I don't
Right.
care what anybody has to say to me about like, and I'll segue this into something else also. I don't give a fuck what anybody would tell me about espousing that opinion that you fucking suck if you bring your kids to the gathering. Fuck you if you disagree with me. I don't care. If you bring a small child to the gathering, you suck ass. And if you bring a teenager to the gathering, you might suck ass. It's possible that you're both just fucking dysfunctional. And sometimes like that is a bonding experience. I'm not stoked about it, but it's a reality of the world.
Everybody that does it sucks ass, man. Some people do fucking take care of their kids there, like we were
Bro,
saying.
I'm sorry. I personally, I cannot get behind walking a 10-year-old through the gathering for any reason. I can't.
That's what you're like not catching from what I'm saying. I'm saying that you can't just say fuck everybody that does it, because some people do it right. But just because that small percentage of people does it right doesn't mean it's okay. And we should just ban it overall. Children shouldn't be allowed in an environment like that.
Yeah,
People
exactly.
take drugs and they toss the bag on the ground. You see kids wandering around fucking unguided with, they're crying and shit, walking around near fucking main stage, dude. We've got fireworks blasting off in different directions. I've seen people get their eye taken out by that shit. I've had my skin split by unopened cans. How many fucking
So here's the problem, bro. I just want to make sure that you know, because again, all love and respect when I say this, but you can't say all of those different things and then precede it by saying some people can take a child into that environment correctly. Like there is no correct way to walk a kid through the environment you just described.
I mean, I just disagree with that. There are the people that sit in their RVs up on the hill and chill like 90% of the time and only bring the kid up to like the hill to watch the music and shit. And then past that, the main thing you're really like at risk of is nudity.
Here's statistically though,
watch it on TV.
Statistically, though, that's not what happens. Because if you look at the numbers of how many people get it,
bro, it's a small
of how many people get an RV, exactly. That's kind of my point. And by the way, I personally think, and maybe I'm wrong about this, I couldn't say I've asked any of these people, but I think that the responsible parents, if there turned out to be a child get banned at the gathering and they said you can't bring your kids anymore, I'm pretty sure all of those people would either A, arrange a sitter at home like most normal people do, like I always did when my kids were too young, or they just won't go because they'll recognize that's part of being a parent. Sometimes you got to not do the thing that you want to do. That's reality. So like, to me, I look at it where, again, my son is fucking 15 years old. He's going to be 16 this year. Being a parent is a thing that is it's not even that it's complicated, but you have to redirect your kid over and over and over and over again. You got to tell them the same fucking thing 100 times before they finally fucking figure it out. And that's the fucking people in general. They fucking make it through your adulthood. That'll still be the case. But I personally think the gathering is somewhere. It's like Doug Stanhope does a bit where he's talking about people that want to bring their kids to the party. Like, oh, I'm having a party at my house. And he's saying something like, oh, well, I'm going to bring my kid. Like, oh, well, no, we're going to be like breaking up pills and fucking doing lines and shit. We don't need kids walking around like, oh, he'll just go play in the corner. He won't bother anybody. Like, we don't care about your kid. That's respectfully, it's not about that. I want to be able to relax and enjoy myself. And it's harder for me to do that when I'm bumping a rail or something. I look over and there's somebody that looks like my kid, because every kid looks like your kid to a certain degree. They're just fucking hanging out. Like, I personally, and guess what? It's not going to change. It's going to stay the way that it is. It's not, they will never ban children from the gathering because they know that every person that brings them is an extra ticket. And that's the way that they operate. But the fact of the matter is, if you really care about the well-being of your kids, That's not a good fucking environment for them, because they're not gonna. If you can really get your kid just to main stage for the nighttime set, and then as soon as that's done, get them back out. Fine. Well, I could never have anything to say about that. But unfortunately, if we're going to be mature adults here and be real about it, that's not what happens. Not for the majority of
it. Happens, but at the same time, I've known people that did it right. And just because
So
you
have I.
might not feel
So have
that
I.
would ever be a safe environment for a kid, some people, in their eyes, they feel they can protect them, and that's their
Yeah, I
style.
know. And some people, I know, but some people
How do you
also shoot heroin with
how
their
do you
kids in the
protect
other room, and they
somebody
think that,
taking
oh, well, the kid's not in the room
flashy,
with me, so I mean that's okay. Again, it's all shades of gray, and it depends on perspective. I'm not saying that.
Nobody's defending the people shooting heroin in the other room from their child here.
Okay, well, so here's the problem though, because people are fucking smoking pills at the gathering. I've seen it. So at that point, if you're not okay with somebody shooting heroin in the next room because you wouldn't want the kid to have to deal with that, then that carries over by the transitive property at the gathering. It's pretty much the same thing, because that's an environment where people go there to be able to be free, to be able to be empowered, to be able to, enjoy themselves. And bringing a child into that environment, which, by the way, a lot of those children do not ask to be there. A lot of those children are dragged there. Oh, and by the way, I'm going to take it a step further. If you bring your dog to the gathering, you better be real fucking cool about that. You know why? Because a couple of years ago, somebody's fucking dog got killed the fucking parking lot night. And you want to know what? Good. Try to have fun at the gathering with knowing that you killed your dog. That sounds like a good idea. Get a fucking dog sitter. Get it crated. It's not complicated. So many people have this, I should be able to do whatever I want. Okay, I guess that's fine. But I don't know why you think you should be free from consequence, because the consequences of bringing your dog to the gathering, what's the best part about it? Somebody gets to have a cool experience petting your dog. You get to be high around your dog. You can be high around your dog at fucking home. There's no reason to bring your dog into an environment where it might die for no reason other than you didn't want to leave it at home. That's what I think.
Hey, man, I've generally been agreeing. I just don't think you can cast the stone on everybody.
Oh, okay. So here's the problem. While I agree with you that any statement that is made cannot be a blanket statement applied to every person, there is always individuality. I do agree with that. But at the same time, there is such a thing as the law of averages, and there is such a thing as statistical reality, which is most of the time. And in our case, I think, quite frankly, especially if you've been gathering long enough to see it, the vast majority of the time, people go to the gathering to be irresponsible. There is no reason to bring children or animals into an environment where the entire purpose of being there is being irresponsible.
I think the key point here is we reach the same conclusion regardless of how we feel about it, is generally that, children shouldn't be allowed there. Animals, yep. I don't like people bringing them, but I don't know if they should necessarily be banned. I just don't get why people feel the need. I've seen a lot of people that definitely take care of their pets very well there. There's that dude that brings his snake around. He's constantly got water for it. I love that dude.
No, listen, bro. Are you familiar with Scene-Lope? You know who that is?
That sounds familiar. I forget most people's fucking names.
No, listen, fair enough. So when I describe this guy to you, you might actually recognize him. So he looks like a short Anthony Kiedis, but when he has facial hair, and he has a little, a dachshund, a little dog, named, is her name Baby Girl? I'm such an asshole that I'm forgetting the dog's name.
I know who you're talking about. I love that dog. That's a sweet little dog.
And guess what? That guy could bring that dog into the pit, and that dog is going to be safe. Yeah, so I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm not saying you can't do it. Excuse me. What I'm saying is that most people go to the gathering to be irresponsible. And I think that if you're going to put it to you like this, if you're going to go to the gathering to be irresponsible, don't force me to recognize how irresponsible you are outside of the gathering. Because if you're willing to bring your fucking kid into that environment, I know at that moment how insane you are willing to be at home. And that makes me not want to hang out with you, because I like crazy people, but I don't like crazy people that are willing to put fucking innocent kids or animals in danger. And unfortunately, there's a lot of fucking juggalos that'll do that. So And again, this is one of these other things. Like I said, this is one of the reasons why I like the Juggalo community. We wear our dysfunction on our sleeve. We make it very clear this is what I struggle with. I am dealing with DCF. I am dealing with custody. I am dealing with drug addiction. Whatever it is, it's usually pretty out front. It's, a lot of these things we live in a way where we're not hiding it. And the whole thing is, I think that the important thing is that if you are being that way, that you should also make it a point to be like, I am also at least trying to make progress and not continue being this way, because I recognize the ways in which it's fucking disruptive. Like, case in point, I've been working on this book for fucking years, and I just finally got back to it. But as I was looking at it, I was looking, and through context clues, I stopped working on it back in 2021. And in 2021, that was when Jay announced that he had a fucking the heart failure and an oxycodone addiction. And at that point, like, the homie Reverend Television on the Carnival grounds, he made this point, and I honestly think that he's correct about this. I don't know if y'all remember this, but from the earliest days, like during the original day, like the original 6 Jokers cards, we were all under the impression that like Shaggy like got drunk. We all knew that, but we were under the impression that those guys didn't do drugs at all. The way that they presented themselves, we were all under the impression that they didn't really do drugs until they did the 6th, and then Jay started smoking weed. But what basically the point that bro made was, I think that the reason they did that was because they already knew that this kind of community was eventually going to have drugs introduced to it anyway. Every music community always does.
Aside from drinking and the fucking cough medicine type shit, they were relatively sober up till the like early 2000s.
Well, so here's the problem. I think that may be true, but it may not be, and I'll tell you why. Because there was the homie Derek point again. He's much better about this stuff than I am. He pointed out there was an interview that Vampiro did with I think it was during 2020 during the lockdown, and so basically he was like they were having some conversation. Like Vampiro was saying to Jay, or one of them, like, "So do you remember the first thing you said to me when we met?" And Jay was like, no, he's whatever. And then Vampiro was like, nah, bro, you asked me where the fucking drugs were at. Like, the thing is, I personally, I wouldn't judge either of them for any of their substance use over the years. Like, not for nothing, but genuinely, if you're an artist at a certain level, I'm not even trying to fucking rationalize or enable, but it's kind of part of it. If that's who you are and that's how you do, that's part of it. But I think that now that they have been willing to be more out front about these kinds of things, I think that it speaks to this level of they are trying to improve. Like when Jay gets called to task for the insane shit, MC Horn in the building, when Jay gets called to task for the fuck shit that he said on Loveline or Bubba the Love Sponge or any of that shit, Jay has no problem saying, I was a fucking asshole back then. Do not listen to me, and recognize that I was wrong for having said that shit. Like,
I forget when they used to do that fucking stream they had on YouTube. I don't know why, but it's like all deleted now, I'm pretty sure. But a guy called in and he was like, oh yeah, I love you guys. Fuck those gays, whatever, he said some shit. And Jay was like, fuck you, you're a fucking idiot. That shit I used to say, fucking stupid. This guy on the phone, fuck him. He's a fucking moron. I like that they'll call out their own fans for being fucking jackasses.
Oh, bro, one of my favorites was when they went on fucking Tom Segura's podcast and Shaggy was talking about the guy that had Jay's face paint tattooed to his face. And he was like, bro, why the fuck would you do that? Like, what job are you going to get now? A Violent J impersonator? Like, why would you do that? And I got to tell you, it's the kind of thing like, listen, bro, nobody would have ever guessed that the same Shaggy that used to drive golf carts over people's tents and then throw money at them to apologize for it, what nobody would have ever assumed that guy was the guy.
Money, he might just keep driving.
Exactly. But nobody would have assumed that guy would end up being the fucking chill, more well-adjusted one by this stage of the game. Like,
I would have expected it. Most of the craziest people I've met in life end up being the most well-balanced.
Well, and you want to know what? It's funny. I think that has something to do with the fact that trauma builds character, and that the more that you have to go through difficulty, the more that it will give you perspective on the rest of the world around you. Like, I'll keep it real.
Now, once you've done so much crazy shit in this life, you've done so many drugs, you've done so much partying, you've gotten in so many fist fights, you kind of hit this point where you just balance out and you're calm. You've dealt with it
Well,
all.
so
You know what's
I
up.
got to tell you, here's the thing. I appreciate what you're saying. I do think that there is some truth to that sometimes, but I also think that it's kind of platitudinal because honestly, the reality is, I like me personally, I haven't been in like tons of fights. I've been training martial arts for many years, so I've crossed hands with plenty of people. Like, I've done a lot of that, but because I'm a martial artist, they were always like, listen, don't get into fights. You can really fucking hurt people. So I do my best not to fight. And hey, we got another guy. He's a dead guy with a bald head. What's up, family? So, but my point, I guess, is that like, don't get me wrong. I definitely, from my youth into like up until the middle, most of the craziness I've had in my life has been since my kids were born. And I firmly believe my craziest days are yet to come. Now, with that said, I'm trying to wait it out until my kids are old enough that they can take care of themselves. And I can finally, like I said, just like I don't want kids at the gathering, I can't really do the things that I want to do until my kids are fully taken care of. Like, I really have not pushed as hard as I could in my career in many different ways because I refuse to let my family be on the fucking back burner to my rap career. Like, that sounds bad. Even if you're making money, it sounds bad. So at that point, I'm looking at it where I have this whole time, I have really just been trying to connect with people and build a fan base, one person, like one actual fan at a time. And that's the whole thing. Like, I've had this conversation with a few people recently, and a lot of people look at it where not necessarily that they're curious why or they're confused why, but they look at it where they don't understand how it is I'm able to have this following over so many years. And the reality of it is, I kid you not, from the earliest days, it's a twofold issue. Number one, and I'll give myself credit here, I can rap like a motherfucker. That's a verifiable fact. Not even trying to give myself credit here. You can listen to the music and determine it for yourself. If you like hip hop and you like lyricism, that's an objective truth. And then second of all, I'm a juggalo who is chronically online. That literally, that I have been chronically online since Facebook and MySpace were a thing. And so because of that, I have been able to connect with a lot of people who over time, like, again, it's one of the really cool things about juggalos and fucking LSP fans and like and technicians and whatever, is that we have this, I got to tell everybody that this is what I do because I love it so much. And so because of that, it helps to promote this. Like, it really is a shame because you would think that it would create more of a broad network. But unfortunately, juggalos have this weird thing where they will only exclusively promote to other juggalos. They have no interest in trying to promote to any fucking scene outside of it. Even though in today's age, Suicide Boys are one of the most fucking, I think they are the number one independent group in the planet. And the Suicide Boys fans are juggalos. They're just too young to know it. They'll get older and they'll look back and they'll understand. But if you're a juggalo and you go to a Suicide Boy show, you look around and watch it and look at the way the kids behave, and you'll be like, yeah, shit. This is exactly the way it used to be. The whole thing is,
them want to encapsulate the juggalo lifestyle, but don't quite reach it though.
Well, yeah, because
there's a certain bridge there. And you might say that the gatherings have chilled out, juggalos have chilled out. All in all, that is true. But at the same time, there's a certain level of, I don't know, I guess just balls you need to actually be in our community. There's a certain confidence you need. Some people just aren't built to be around the type of people that we are.
Here's what I'll say to that. I do, generally speaking, I do agree with you. I do think that there is truth to that.
Colorful prison yard.
And look, you want to know what? Again, this is why I said, bro, the gathering is a Vietnam that I choose to return to. It is a place where, because here's the thing, in Vietnam, some of those guys had a lot of fucking fun out there. I don't know if you're familiar, but like some of those guys, like that was one of the lines in Apocalypse Now that was really heavy. The same guy, Robert Duvall, he says, I love the smell of napalm in the morning. At the end of that engagement, he says with wistfully, he says, this war is going to end someday. Like, sadly, he said that. And the whole thing is, a lot of other people, the reason why I say that is because Ken Jeong described it on The Masked Singer. He was like, do you ever do still doctor work? And he was like, absolutely not. You don't go back to Vietnam. And so I look at it where fucking for me, the gathering, because here's the thing, and if you guys have been gathering long enough, I know that you guys are going to understand what I say. Every year, the gathering is either the best gathering that has ever happened or the worst gathering that has ever happened. It just depends on who you talk to.
I only started in 22, but I've been each year since, and I feel like from 22 to 24, it was getting gradually weaker. 25 was a very nice bounce back.
I will. So listen, this is what I'll tell you about that. And I do agree, 25 was fucking many. I think it had a certain amount to do with the heat. It was unbearably hot.
23 was hot as fuck, but 24 was very gathering, man.
There were a lot of normies, but I got to tell you, the thing is, unfortunately, the gathering is the kind of spectacle that it is. And so because of that, part of the selling point, genuinely, I've even espoused this attitude that I think normies should come see the gathering, because the whole thing is, the reason why the Juggalo family has persisted over so many years is because what happens is every so often, and it's funny because Bang Pow Boom literally talks about this, but basically every so often the Juggalo world reaches the mainstream again. For whatever reason, it goes viral again. A song pops up, whatever the fuck it is.
Like the TikTokalos, because they'll filter themselves out, and that's how we get our, like, you know, 10% of them stay, and that's our community growing.
That's exactly what I'm saying, is that every few years, a big swell happens, a bunch of people show up, and then a bunch of people leave, and then the people that are, and it sucks because it really is, it's twofold. It's either the people that are really juggalos that it really resonates with, and the people that recognize, hey, I can have a free community here. Like a lot of people that are not able to be, they're too socially inept, or they're too whatever, or they burnt bridges in whatever other scene. Like that, I've seen that shit happen a bunch of different times. Different artists and whatnot that'll pop into the juggalo scene. They're not juggalos, but because they live a certain kind of life, they've been adjacent to juggalos, and they recognize the kinds of fans the juggalos are. So they're like, oh, well, it's a sad thing, because I think that it's a double-edged blade, and it represents juggalos as they really are. Juggalos, if you show juggalos love and you're just respectful about them and in your reference, they will fucking support whatever you do. Any movie that's ever had fucking juggalos in it, any fucking TV show that's ever had juggalos in it, any artist that ever showed props to juggalos, if that shit happened in the public eye and enough people knew about it, juggalos supported that shit en masse. And that's the thing. Not all fan bases do that. Not all fan bases have a thing where
carry it to the wrong level, though. Just as an example, look at fucking Tech, the disrespect he's put on us over the years.
Okay.
You know,
I'm sorry.
then,
I am going to have to disagree with you on that, because the reality here is that Tech Nine does not owe the Juggalos anything.
Just like the Juggalos anything, but just as a reference point, how can he give so much credit to these other people for his come up when it really was Juggalos in the beginning that gave him this big start?
But so here's the thing. I'll tell you exactly why. Because technically speaking, if we're talking sheer numbers, that's not accurate. What's happened is
he wouldn't have gone that far, though.
So again, I got to disagree with you on that. And I'm going to tell you exactly why. Because Tech Nine would have found a way to do it one way or the other because of A, his level of talent, and B, the amount of drive he and his partners had to simply make things happen. They would have found a way regardless. Now, this is the thing that a lot of people don't understand.
Where I disagree is, look how many people with just as much talent as Tech Nine, just as much drive, never catch that break.
Did they also have as much money as Tech Nine?
Tech Nine didn't have shit back in the day.
Travis O'Gwyn did.
I guess I don't know who that is, really.
That's the guy who runs Strange Music, my boy.
Okay,
that's the guy who opened Strange Music. Like he was a furniture magnate from Kansas City, and he put all of his money behind Tech Nine around Absolute Power.
I just don't think he would have had the success he had if it weren't for Juggalos.
So here's the thing. I recognize that you feel that way, but you really have to look at it. he was on the Sway and Tech fucking wake up show with Eminem back in the 90s. Like, he was popping in the same way that Eminem was popping. And by the way, just so we can be clear, there are people that say now, like, I've watched interviews within the last year of people from Detroit talking about how it is a badly kept secret in Detroit that Eminem was a juggalo when he first came up. So the fact of the matter is, what happened is
that's no secret.
Well, but so here's the problem is that, first of all, as long as we're on that topic, Violent J and Sarah Russi took pictures in bedazzled Jason masks at the Mom's Spaghetti. Eminem wins. So one way or another, the fact is that with Tech Nine, and I will, by the way, say the exact same thing for Jelly Roll, because Jelly Roll did not succeed because of Juggalos. That's not what happened.
No, he succeeded because he swapped a country.
No, that is part of it. But the reason he succeeded, here's the thing. If Jelly Roll did not have Juggalos, Jelly Roll would not have had anybody, generally speaking, booking him consistent shows, because Juggalos were the ones that filled in those empty spots at the shows that's what Juggalos do. For Tech Nine, for Bone Thugs and Harmony, they did that for, because their numbers had started to fucking slip. Anybody that Juggalos fuck with, they will go to your show when you're in town. And so because of that, Tech Nine, like, bro, I'm trying to tell you, I saw it happen.
You're saying the numbers, but back in the day, after Malenko all the way up through 2010, you couldn't go into a fucking mall without seeing 6 Juggalos. The numbers used to be a lot bigger, even if it was kind of mainstream.
Okay, you know? So number one, so question, how old are you, my boy?
24.
I am 40 years old. I got to tell you, you can't tell me about back in the day. I was there. I was physically there. And the whole thing is
physically there.
We did
maybe not as far back as the 90s, but yes.
But if you're going to say, but when you say back in the day, when I say back in the day, I'm talking about like during the original 6.
Okay. And when I say back in the day, I'm saying up from like 2005 through 2010, when I was going to malls and shit, I saw Juggalos out the dick hole, saw them everywhere, actually heard people bumping ICP in public.
Yeah.
That shit died out pretty hardcore in terms of mainstream popularity.
All right, well, so that's interesting, because within the last year, Jay can be quoted as saying that they're more popular now than they've ever been.
Well, yeah, a huge boost from TikTok came in the last like 5 years.
Probably not like
pretty insane.
All right, well, yeah, but so again, the idea here, like I said, every so often, right now it's TikTok. However long ago when they did Mighty Death Pop, it was because they were doing songs with Creation and fucking Baxwar and all this different shit. All these different covers and whatever. Which Death Pop is maybe my favorite Joker's card out of all 12. I'm not sure. 13, whatever.
Get out of here.
I know. Oh, I know. I used to look
it's
at
a good album. I have it tattooed on me.
I used to look at the second deck where I was like, I don't know what you new kids are talking about. But then I actually was convinced by my homies, like, listen, just give it a shot and like take it, like really try to be objective and listen to it.
Listen to this shit and hate on it.
Look, do you want to know what? My problem is that the second deck, maybe certain songs and certain like stretches of the album are not as strong as others, but every single Joker's card from the second deck followed exactly the same formula as the original. They did it exactly the same way as far as how they compiled the albums and how they released them. And like, to me,
I can agree with you on that point, but the lore took a pretty hard turn in terms
but so here's the problem. I think that a lot of people do not want to recognize the boots on the ground reality of what being Insane Clown Posse has been.
People need to look at the second deck like a redux of the first, It's
but that's the thing, is that it's not. Like, I'll tell you right now, the first 6 Joker's cards were meant to tell you, you have a soul, so take care of it, because when you die, if you were a fucked up person, you very well may end up going somewhere way worse than this. But with that said, the second deck is much more about, hey, you're a human being living on the earth. So maybe you should pay attention to how you behave, because everybody else around you has to fucking deal with you. And let's also not forget that if you fuck around badly enough, there is potentially a cosmic justice that you are going to have to face. So how about don't be a piece of shit? And by the way, I think that it was a very astute move. That might be the wrong way to word that, but it was really a great move where they started the second deck with Bang Pow Boom, all this color and madness and wildness, and it's this explosion of just, again, every once in a while the Dark Carnival begins to swell. So fucking like that, and then end it with the naught, which literally the idea of nothing, void, no, non-existence. Everybody looks at ICP like it's just this ridiculous, and this is exactly why I say that I feel this way about the community. Everybody looks at juggalos and ICP like it's just this huge amalgamation of retardation, drug use, mental illness, and insanity. And quite frankly, okay, there's plenty of that in there, but I got to be honest with you, a lot of the most intelligent and cultured and well-adjusted people I've ever met in my life have been juggalos. To which point, a lot of those same people have been people that I met in the fucking gutter, in the worst of circumstances. Because the fact of the matter is, say what?
It's two sides of the same coin.
I mean, it could be argued, and here's the thing, because I got to tell you, it really speaks to how divisive things are right now and how divided this culture actually is, for the fact that I'm just going to go on record and say this. I don't give a shit, and I hope I don't offend anybody here specifically, but I do not know how a person could be a juggalo and support the current administration. I don't get it. I look at the fact, because here's the thing. My grandfather survived the Holocaust. I don't know how much you know about my history. And as somebody whose grandfather survived the Holocaust, to have basically, to a little bit of a lesser extent, it's not quite as, wanton violence as it was in Nazi Germany, but
not yet. We're closer to like 1937, 1938.
Yeah. Germany. Oh no. All right. Well, good. You clearly understand what I'm trying to say.
From Minnesota, this is exactly where this shit's popping off harder than anywhere else.
No, listen. Fair enough. I got homies out there, and I got a lot of friends that are fucking immigrants. Crossworm is Canadian, so like it to me, the whole situation is so, it just bothers me. Like I can remember during 2020. And this is just a point to what I'm saying right now. I can remember in 2020, there were I think it was Eric Garner it was these were the George Floyd protests. Basically, they were like fucking, I'm trying to think of the right way to word it, but basically it was happening in a way where, oh man, I'm not even high right now. Why am I losing my train of thought? Well, so my point, I guess, is just that it was happening in a way where it was being politicized and turned into this thing where everybody is like, now it turns into this, like, God damn it. I really did lose my train of thought specifically because I
say that they turned a moral issue into a political divide.
Well, so I mean, that's been the way of the day for a while now, but no, so I'm sorry. I forgot the point that I was trying to make. Now I remember. So when that happened, there was a lot of, like, we don't fuck with racism rhetoric flying around, at least on the left, I guess. And fucking ICP, in classic ICP fashion, posted a picture of fuck your rebel flag. When they did the newer one where he's like pulling it apart and it's on fire with the Carnival of Carnage face, they posted that, and bro, maybe y'all even seen it because it happened more than once, but the kinds of fucking comments that I saw juggalos make about why is ICP being political and they don't know nothing about that flag.
Have you only listened to like 3 fucking songs? Jesus.
Blam. Like I'm gonna slam my face on the table like fucking talk to me. Holy shit. Like the level of cognitive dissonance that exists in a juggalo that supports something like ICE is fucking crazy. It blows my mind. And I also got to tell you, and I feel like you guys can appreciate this because you guys are probably on the same general vibration on this one as I am, is hasn't it been interesting watching everybody catch up on all the conspiracy theories? Like, oh, we knew this was going on fucking 20 years ago. Where the fuck are you?
Goddamn vindicated.
Where have you been? Like, what the fuck? I gotta tell you, I kid you not, bro. I stopped talking about this shit around the time my kids were born because I got tired of being like, nobody wants to fucking listen. Nobody is going to fucking like, and I'm not even talking about the really, really crazy shit like reptilians and like checkerboard floors and all that bullshit. I'm talking about just the people at the highest level of the world are subjugating the people at the lowest level, like in a really serious and fucked up way. And fucking, it's crazy though, because they flipped Alex Jones. I don't know how they did it, but they flipped him because he really was one of the main people that was like, there's a lot of fuck shit going on. And now he's working for the people doing it. So it's
it's because Alex Jones has always been a fucking, I personally believe he's a misdirect, and you can call that conspiracy all you like. I think he's one of those guys that's meant to go out there and he says true things in the craziest way possible to, make it seem less credible.
And by the way, conspiracy theory, that's exactly what I'm saying, is that it's a conspiracy theory to say that they flipped him. You know what I'm saying? Like, to say that they flipped him. And by the way, this is the problem with that shit, because I do believe in a very small group of very rich, very powerful people who have remained very rich and very powerful for as many generations as they could hack it. And who's to say? Because I remember when I used to say, oh, the Rothschilds and the Warburgs and the fucking whatever, my mother said, who you should be worried about is the people that made sure that you don't know who their name are, what their name is. Like that to me, at that level,
it is people like the Rothschilds too, though. They're the banking arm of the fucking Vatican. Some of that shit runs deep.
Here's the problem with that one, because I'm going to tell you, the Rothschilds are a tricky topic because on one hand, the Rothschild family has definitely been caught up in some fuck shit over the years. I'm fully aware of it. However, unfortunately, the Rothschild conspiracy theory at its core is just another way to be able to get down to the bottom of it and say it was the Jews. I'm telling you, every fucking conspiracy theory, if you boil it down deeply enough, it's the Jews. That's who they're telling you did it. And the fact of the matter is, it's really confusing for somebody like me, because I'm going to keep it 1,000 with you. My grandfather survived the fucking Holocaust. He went to Israel afterwards. And frankly, I think that at a bare minimum, they deserve to be there. Whether or not they deserve to own the whole fucking country, I don't agree with that. But on the other hand, that issue is so fucking nuanced. I do my best not to talk about it. But what I am saying,
whether anyone owns or belongs on the land is its own topic.
Well, no, exactly. And by the way,
the country right now, the politicians,
I need you to know, having been out there for birthright, because again, I am Jewish, fucking a large amount of Palestinians live within Israel and are Israeli citizens. A lot of them. Now, with that said, there is a big movement within those Palestinians to, assert some kind of, justice and fucking sovereignty over some amount of, the West Bank, Gaza Strip, whatever. But the fact is, it's being done by people where, and again, unfortunately,
hey, is it just me? Say shit cutting out.
No, it's not just you. It's on my end too. Bash?
Bash is like fucking frozen too. What the fuck's going on?
I think his phone might have died, probably. I'm going to play a song during this.
No, it's happening on my end too. He's buffering.
Yeah, I think his internet cut out or his phone died or something. Let's run a music video. Give him a minute.
Ladies and gentlemen, dicks and vaginas, without any further ado, better believe in it. Sick up, bitch, if you with it, then let's go. treachery. A matter of fact, there can never be another Mad Max on a rap track, ready to attack. Got a hatchet and a battle axe strapped to the back, I'm ready to go. Everybody knows it's a fucking rap when I make it, so I ain't backing down. Never back around without one, I'm taking y'all. Just another American telling horrible stories, and it'd be in the asylum. Straight freak show, don't creep, ho. Take your ass and whip it like Devo. I ain't fucking around, the competition gonna end up stuck in the ground. And dab wax and I'm up in the clouds. I don't give a fuck, I ain't rushing or coming back down. I'm East Coast, I'm sick hop. I've owned this since 06 and I won't quit. Yeah, a lot of rappers are gonna fold, but you know who won't? It's better believe it, it's sick hop, bitch, if you with it, then let's go. Never retreating it. Sick hop original, down with the criminals, paying the visceral copies are pitiful.
That's a good one. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck happened there, honestly, but apparently we were able to furlough it into a commercial break and then a song. So that's good.
Yeah, we started talking about too much political shit. We got dropped.
Oh yeah, no, that I was about to say, as soon as I start talking about fucking Israel, they're like, nope, fuck you, shut up. Supposed to be talking about clowns, asshole.
Canceled. No.
Man, no, listen, I'm sorry. Chad Daniels does a bit about this. Cancel culture doesn't exist. All that happens is your fan base shifts. You do a thing, you get canceled, and then the people that think that you don't deserve to be canceled, they're your fans now.
Mm-hmm. Fans, I've said this before, fans are fickle. They jump to whatever the hottest fucking thing is at that time. They stick with it till they get bored, and then they jump to the fucking next thing.
Oh yeah.
And, like, you have to do something to make you have to be able to keep your fucking fan base's attention 24/7. That's the reason why so many people don't even fucking last long. It's because
no, listen, bro, I'll tell you right now, it speaks to even the Juggalo community is not above this, where like the Juggalo community, by and large, really only seems to care about who they're told to care about. Because there's so many artists that have been working on the underground for a really long time. And I'm not even talking about myself. Literally, for this conversation, cut me out of it. There are so many different artists that I know. Like, the first one that comes to mind right now is Saint Sinner, with Mission Infect, Biokillers. Fucking, his level of talent is stupid. Like, his ability to fucking, like, compose and rap and sing in some cases is fucking like really solid. Like, it's really good. There's like a lot of like HB the Grizzly can sing like fucking crazy. If you've seen her perform live, then you know that, because she don't got no fucking backtracks when she sings, or even if she does, you can fucking tell that that's her voice coming through the fucking speaker. Like, who's another good example of that? Arsenic and A is actually really good as a singer as well. Fucking, that's Team She, obviously. Razikel, say what you will about her rap style. Not everybody is a fan of hers, but fucking her, like, ability to fucking to maintain a fan base and to build herself back up after Sicktanic fucked her bloody as far as her past catalog is concerned, to still be able to continue to do what she's doing now. Like, this community has so many insanely fucking talented people in it. It's ridiculous. But the fact is, the only ones that ever get fucking noticed are the ones that you get told to be listening to. Case in point, I have nothing against either of these acts, but I refuse to believe the Juggalos would have been paying attention to Lardy B or Sinister unless fucking Psychopathic or C17 told them to. Like, Lardy B, I knew about Lardy B fucking 5 years, 3 years, however long ago, before she did The Gathering. She was doing parody music. Sinister, same thing. He's actually got a pretty big following without Ouija or any of that shit. But
I think Lardy B could have found some success, but I can agree with you wholeheartedly on Sinister.
Here's the thing. Sinister is a dope fucking rapper. You can't take it away from him. And he's apparently, if I heard it correctly, he's a veteran, so respect to the man. But what my point I'm just making is that they basically, like, Lardy B did the ball bounce remix at her second gathering, which was the second time that she played the gathering. The first time she played main stage, and then she didn't play for a year after that, but she did the ball bounce remix. But she didn't even pop at that point from the Juggalo community. She didn't pop in the Juggalo community until she went out on tour with Shaggy. Once they went out on tour and it was like that, that was like people started to like Juggalos basically it makes me sad that this is the impulse, but it's like every time Juggalos like somebody, they're like, sign them to C17 or sign them to Psychopathic, which nobody gets signed to Psychopathic anymore. I will say that is a remarkable fact, however, because Wacko basically signed himself to Psychopathic Records. It's pretty remarkable. Like the fact that he just showed up and was like, I'm going to be on Psychopathic Records, guys. And everybody was like, okay, proceed. And fucking my thing is, if you're not a fan of his, that's fine. I know a lot of people don't fuck with his shit like that, but lyrically, you cannot say that the man can't rap. Like that's a fact. He has bars. And it's the kind of thing where the fact that he was able to do what he's done, I think that it speaks to a level of, again, to me, it's a net positive for the culture.
Occasional bars. Some of the things he says are about as basic as you can get, you know.
Okay, so that's true. That's true.
For fucking 3 minutes straight.
That's true. But unfortunately, and I don't listen to a lot of his shit, but I know based on what I have heard that this is true. Same can be said for Ouija and across a lot of the shit that he's made, which I got to tell you, I might be of a I might be in the minimal opinion side on this one, but I vastly preferred Swagtooth shit to Ouija's shit now. I think that he was much more lyrical back then. I think that he was much more like, the thing is, he's very artistic and the music that he makes is very considered. There's a lot of lore. There's a lot behind it. The imagery, the symbolism.
He would be bigger if he weren't a Juggalo, honestly. I think he would have.
I got to tell you,
pushed in a mainstream way.
Well, it's funny you would say that because there was a time before they popped off or before he signed to Psychopathic, really, that Swagtooth had a pretty substantial following. Like they were fucking doing it. Like,
yeah, and they were doing some shit with bigger people, you know. They were starting.
Oh no, they were working with Suicide Boys. Like they had that whole like community of like Fat Nick and Puya and Ghostman and all them dudes. Like them and Free Will were solidly part of that. It could be argued that Free Will even still are to a certain extent because Free Will is more along the lines of like, you know, they've just maintained, you know, being independent the whole time. Ouija obviously went to specifically being on Psychopathic, which to me, it was a shock when it happened because I had known about Swagtooth for however long, but fucking I had never really known about him in the Juggalo community. But
stepping back, if we're referencing Swagtooth and Ouija's individual music, I can toss you 10 songs, you know, that have a deeper meaning if you listen to the lyrics versus some of Wacko's shit, you know, and that ain't even hate on Wacko. I mean, he's kind of
okay, but so this is what I will say to that. I think that Wacko sometimes does shit like that. Like, I don't know if a lot of people I think didn't notice this track, and I think that when it didn't pop, he just kind of quietly let it die like artists sometimes do. But he made like a rock song, like She Left My Heart in the Graveyard, something like that.
Yeah.
And so here's the thing. Whether or not you liked it, I don't think it was great. But at the same time, first of all, he was just trying shit. That's number one. But number two, he's not an artist just because he's a Juggalo. And by the way, I recognize that because Juggalo music has been the way that it has been the whole time that it's been, I do recognize the fact that it's like, oh, well, there should be a deeper meaning. But sometimes there's not. Like, you know, sometimes a cigar is just a cigar. And Wacko the Kid is a fucking, he's a gangster rapper. That's what he does. That's what he is. He is a gangster. Like, I every once in a while I've seen his like story posts and shit, and like he's going down to fucking Medellin, Colombia, or he's out in Atlanta with fucking 8 goons around him with a fucking extended clip that's got fucking 30 shots in it. Like, he's a fucking gangster, bro. That's what he does. So if you listen to a lot of gangster rappers' music, there's like bars and metaphors or whatever, but it's not like they're not trying to give you the deeper meaning. They're just trying to get you to shake ass and have fun. So it's like Wacko being part of the Psychopath. Like, again, that's why I think it's remarkable. That's why I think it's dope. He's a kid in his 20s that walked into Psychopathic Records and was like, hey, guys, I'm your newest artist. And they were all like, yeah, I guess you are.
Exactly what you're saying about his music is part of what I've used to defend him in the past as well. Is his sound is supposed to be grimy because he just is fucking grimy, you know, and that's a style that people can't fake. You know, like if you just suck at rapping, that's one thing. But if you've been through fucking how many shootings and you fucking were a drug addict for how many years, your shitty rapping is still going to be better than a lot of people's.
What's funny about Wacko doing that is that Zitro actually admitted this on a previous stream with me that Jay wanted to sign him to fucking Psychopathic, and Jump Steady was like, we don't have the fucking money to sit there and put it behind another fucking artist. So, and here's the thing is like, you see some of these shorts of fucking Wacko on Instagram, he's got money, you know? He's able to
he fucking does. And by the way, and I'm sorry, I just one very quick thing. One of the things that I witnessed him do, and it's one of the reasons why I have so much respect for him, it was at the Baymont in fucking Detroit on Hollowicked, and fucking he had his diamond chipped hatchet, man. And I shit you not, he just took it off and let some kid fucking take a picture with it. Like the idea of handing somebody a fucking $60,000, there's no way it costs less than that. A fucking $50,000-$60,000 chain in fucking Detroit with juggalos. Oh, I'm sorry. You're going to tell me that there's not somebody bold enough to try to do that? Like, it was the fact that he would do that is two things. One, he knows that he's got the respect of the people around him, that he ain't got to worry about it. But number two, he is a fucking juggalo. Like, I know people that knew him, I guess, when he was much younger, and it's like he's legit about his shit. He's just been a juggalo for a really long time. And the fact that he did it the way that he did it. What?
For all the shit you could say about him, and sometimes he's way too quick to be a fucking asshole. He gets very defensive. Nobody can claim he isn't a jug.
Oh, well, no, that's a fact. And listen, I'm going to tell you something, bro. Something that a lot of people don't like to admit about like music, the rap game, whatever you want to call it, is a lot of these motherfuckers that get into it specifically because they're the kinds of people with a lot of ego. Rap is built around pushing your ego. So, excuse me, at a certain point, you are always going to have to deal with those kinds of people. The fact is, if you're the kind of guy that can be around these kinds of people, like, look, I'll keep it 1,000 with you. I'm 40 years old and I'm fucking broke. I need to get a new job. I'm doing some moving. I'm hoping I can make that a full-time thing, but I got to look for another job. Do you see me being over here being bitter at the 26-year-old dude that's got fucking diamonds going on fucking trips and doing all kinds of cool shit? Fuck no, because he has that because his circumstances led him in that direction, and he was able to do that. Like, it's not his fault that I have not succeeded. So at that point, I understand why a lot of people fucking hate on that guy. I definitely get it. But at the same time, if you're going to be objective about it,
the most reason anybody could hate on him is that he's successful. He's done his thing in terms of money.
Well, but believe me, you would be surprised as rappers go and as people in the scene go, success breeds fucking contempt. That's a fact. But beyond that,
I'm just saying.
I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know the exact situation, but I am going to tell you, if he is a guy who grew up trapping, and it looks like he is, if he is a guy who grew up kind of street and he's been shot several times, so I'm pretty sure he has, if he is a guy that has had to deal with
attempted robbery, so
if he is the kind of guy that's had to go through that kind of shit, I've known a few people, not a lot, but I've known a few people that have been like gang deep in some shit. And even the ones that are humble and nice, they're usually pretty standoffish and kind of prickly because guess what? They've had to live through things where somebody tried to fucking kill them. So at that point, they don't necessarily know how they feel about anybody in any given moment. And especially for somebody in that position where, look, if you're going to be real about juggalos, if you've been a juggalo long enough, then fucking we're going to be real about the fact that a lot of us are fuckwits and a lot of us are proud to be fuckwits. And so at that point, it's not unreasonable to be like, I'm going to keep arm's length between me and some of you because I don't need fuckwit energy in my life anymore than it already exists inherently. And
you also can't excuse somebody's behavior based on that, though, because I could go in the opposite direction and tell you some of the toughest, craziest, stabbed in the stomach 20 fucking separate times people I've ever met in my life were also some of the most respectful, polite, didn't give a fuck if somebody insulted them because it just didn't mean shit to them because they got shot. They got bigger shit going on. They don't give a fuck
Well,
about
yeah,
somebody
but
saying,
so
oh, you're a bitch.
number one, my question would be, were they that way before they went through that shit? Because typically my experience has been the experience will humble them, which again, I got to be honest, my experience with Wacko every time that I've met him is that A, he's been respectful, and B, he basically like gave me props in the sense of like knowing who I was kind of. And because generally speaking, I don't think he does. I don't think that he's actually up on like my lore, if you want to call it that. But I never expect anybody to know who I am. I don't push myself that way. I have a very, Mad Max, fuck that guy. Who is he? Like, I don't like having that like ego. I'm not that kind of guy. But with that said, the fact that he definitely, when he has acknowledged me, when we've met, he didn't fucking have to. There's no reason at all for him to be like, oh, Max was good, man. Like,
that's the thing is I like Wacko as a person, you know, I like having conversations with him. It's just how he treats other people in the community that pisses me off sometimes.
Frankly, I would have to see it. And I would also have to say, because listen, you want to know what, man, the really sad part of this community is that, again, a lot of us show our ass pretty consistently. And the problem with that is that it's like, yeah, sure, we're going to be
talking about the ass thing. I won't.
Oh, no, we're not. I'm not talking about show our ass physically. I'm talking about generally, behave in a ridiculous way. And by the way, I'm not above that shit. Again, I don't know if y'all had seen when I posted about it on Facebook. I made a fucking ass of myself at Clockside. And the fact is that that was based on nothing more than me making bad fucking decisions. And so at the end of the day, I think that a lot of people put a lot of emphasis on I'm a juggalo, so A, B, and C. And I think that I remember saying this to some kids outside of a Ouija show a few years ago. And granted, I was on acid that day, but one of the things that I said to them was fucking, I understand that you guys have so much reverence for the clowns and C-17, as well you should. This is what helps give you your connection to the music and the culture. But I need you to understand that, and Jay has spoken about this many times, but we out here living our lives, we are perpetuating Juggalo culture by nature of our very existence. So understand that you are part of this as you listen to it. And that's like one of the biggest draws to even listening to the music and being part of it is recognizing that once you decide or you realize, I think that's a better way to say it. Once you realize that you're a Juggalo, then you suddenly are part of this very rich tradition and culture that otherwise you would not have been. But the thing is that I do think a lot of people now have a very you're not a Juggalo if attitude. And I got to be honest, that's been a thing the whole time. I can remember I got down in 97 roughly, but I started going to shows in 2000. I really started getting into the community about that time. And
look at your own point about how you don't get how somebody could call themselves a Juggalo supporting this administration, though. There's certain points where people feel the need to step up and say, you really can't call yourself one of us if you support this certain thing or you act this certain way.
Well,
and
that's what I'm saying.
I agree with that. I won't get political about it, but when it comes to like a rapist, yeah, they can call themselves whatever they want, but are they actually? No, they're trash. They're nothing. They're outside of our shit.
Yeah. And listen, man, the whole thing is that reality is always stranger than fiction, and there's no way to ever know what was true and what wasn't about any number of different things. Like, I'm not going to call out names, but within the last, let's say 3 years, because I can't remember the exact timeline, there was some pretty serious drama that popped up as far as certain people making accusations about different things that had happened before or after Hallowicked or whatever. And it's just it's crazy to me the extent to which, bro, I grew up in a time where people took hound dogs really seriously. That we ain't trying to be all caught up in their lives. That's not what we're fucking doing here. But now everybody, I gotta be honest with you, bro. I don't give a fuck who Jay, Shaggy, Jump Steady, fucking DJ, I don't care who they're dating. I don't care who they're fucking. It doesn't matter to me. And why everybody wants to discuss I don't care what Daffy said. Yeah, she probably sucks. Whatever. Guess what? She's not the one making the fucking tour stops. She's not the one on the fucking phone making the fucking shit happen. And she's also not the one driving the bus. So why does anybody care what the fuck? Yeah, she sucks. Yeah, she might have said some shit that was fucked up. Okay, guess what? Don't let her into your fucking hotel room when you're partying then. Like, other than that, what the fuck else really is there? Because I think that a lot of people really, first of all, Juggalos are some of the most entitled fans on the planet. That's a fact. I don't care. But the fact is, so many people have this thing where, like, they think because this is a small underground tight-knit community that means that we're supposed to give a shit about I don't need anybody giving a fuck about what happens in my day-to-day life. Are you fucking kidding me? I would much prefer that people keep it as far as he makes his music, he does his thing, I see him at the shows, sometimes I send him messages. I don't need people asking me, oh, well, so, like, what's his relationship with his kids like? What the fuck do you need to know that for? Like, I honestly, the idea of, bro, I saw people trying to come at fucking Ruby over fucking Sarah Russi. And, like, I want to slap every fucking one of you. Like, why would you think that you need to have a conversation with this person about some shit that has nothing to do with you? Like, it blows my mind that people think that they need, and frankly, you know, the difference though is that if somebody decides to do it, like Jay is in videos with Sarah now. Ouija and his girl do everything online together. So if that's how you want to do it, then okay, fine. But number one, if you want to
give a shit to that level, but the other side,
we'll also say though, if you want to do that,
YouTubers.
If you want to do that, you have to accept what comes along with it, which is a lot more public scrutiny. But at the same time, I just like. And I want to go back to something that we had said before, which is, I need you to know something. I do not think that, first of all, Tech9 has actually pretty openly given a lot of respect to ICP. And as a matter of fact, the closest that they ever had to a beef right after it happened, Tech brought ICP out on stage with him at that tour stop in Detroit to introduce them. And there always has been a mutual respect. But the whole thing is, Tech9 genuinely could not have reached the level of fame that he did on Juggalos' backs alone. And you know that because Juggalos have only been able to support ICP to that level at certain points in their career. Like, they haven't been selling out venues up until just recently. They went several years without doing shows.
Juggalos carried his career. It was that they were the only kickstart he could really receive at the time that would have pushed him to the level of fame he's achieved.
Well, but so here's the problem. You want to know who the exact same could have been said for and actually is said for? Cottonmouth Kings. Full stop, 100%. And by the way, they had a rich guy behind them, Kevin Zinger. They had a whole movement behind them, SRH, and they still folded. So at a certain point, it kind of doesn't matter. Like, the Juggalos can reach you as far as they can try, as far as up as we can push you, but you got to take yourself from there. And the whole thing is, Jelly Roll did the same thing, but he did that in a way where basically Juggalos and others within that framework, let's say, gave him the ability to continue doing shows and continue having it look like he wasn't a failure. Like, to have had an initial pop, get a certain amount of attention and notoriety, and then have it start to trickle downwards. Juggalos kept supporting him at that moment. So that is definitely important support. However, the importance of that support is mostly that it is visually, it helps, but it's also moral support to make you want to continue doing it. Where it's like, okay, I can keep doing this because that guy right there and his 8 friends have come to every show I've done for the last 5 years. So you want to know what?
I'll step so far to say this. I'll give you this. I can't say for sure that he never would have obtained the fame he did without Juggalos, but the fact that Juggalos were such a huge part of him obtaining that fame, I find the lack of credit he gives,
He's given mad props. For how long has he given mad props? Like,
that's what I'm saying. Most of what I've seen, Jelly Roll speaks very highly of ICP.
Tech in one scenario he'll reference
Like
ICP,
what more?
as being his up, like that was his big up, like it was the Juggalos. Oh, thank them. And then in another interview, a much larger one, for example, when somebody asks him where the props go to, ICP's nowhere to be found in that fucking speech.
Well, okay, but so here's the thing. Do you know why? Because in that speech, nobody knows who ICP is, so there's no value in bringing them up. Most of those people are only there to hear recognize.
Bringing them up would be giving them props now that he's larger than them and giving them.
Well, yeah, but so that's kind of the thing. I got to tell you, bro. Technically speaking, Tech Nine's not larger than ICP. What Tech Nine is
for a time.
Excuse me. Here's the thing. I think that he was more successful than them for a time. Because you want to know what? He's eventually, like, let's keep it really real here. He like the last 2 tours he did, he had to basically lasso Hollywood Undead and fucking pull along with them to be able to really pack the arenas out. Tech Nine does not draw that way like he used to. And you can tell that that's the case because he doesn't fucking tour like he used to. He would still do those shows if he could get the fucking tickets. But the fact is, if you look at the attendance at these shows, way less people are going. And his stage show, his stage show is way underwhelming now. It's like it's mostly screens and lights and shit.
Back.
Oh, bro! First of all, his stage show died the day Chris left, as far as I'm concerned. But as far as I'm concerned, yeah, on some real shit, I don't think that anybody gives Chris Calico the level of credit that he deserves as an artist, and as the fact that his voice was it's a funny thing. His voice is the same thing to Tech Nine as Legs Diamond was to ICP. Like Legs Diamond's voice is the voice that you hear when you think ICP, other than Jay and Shaggy. Like when you think about the voice at the beginning of Ringmaster, or when you think about, or not Ringmaster, the beginning of Riddlebox, or like Willoughby Rags, that kind of shit. Like
singing through the Wraith.
Legs Diamond is absolutely, and it makes me sad that he's not still involved. I have to imagine there's like, again, it gets confusing, bro. Back in the day, the extended crew was like part of the thing. That was like part of what we thought was cool. It was like, oh, here's all these other guys that are their friends. And now it's like, bro, are you kidding me? Like Rudy's practically like not even fucking homies with them anymore. Like, do you have any idea how insane that sentence is? Rude Boy might not be homies with ICP anymore. I'm sorry. What?
Homies, he's just not involved with this shit.
I don't know, bro. I hope so. I hope you're right, because based on the shit that I've seen, Rudy does not seem happy about being left out of everything.
See,
I'm just saying, this is also, by the way, for the record, the reason why, for the most part, I do my best to stay the fuck out of Juggalo politics. Because number one,
before too, we're not up on their lives, so we don't know what interpersonal decisions.
Oh no, that's true. That's a fact.
That,
that much is a fact. But I'm also gonna say, man, I like some of this shit, unfortunately, does bubble to the surface because let's keep it real, bro. As far as how many people around the world that might represent this Juggalo, this community, there's probably like, if we're being generous, like 10, 20,000 of us in this country, roughly, like that take it this seriously.
Oh yeah, that take it this seriously. I'd say that caps out around like 20 to 30. I'd say it's a little higher than you're giving credit for.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Generally speaking, and it's like, because again, around most of the rest of the world, Juggalos are a thing where, like, I firmly believe, bro, that a large amount of Juggalos that still exist, they're out there somewhere, are original 6 Juggalos who basically, like, they live a very off the grid, in the hood, away from the internet life. And, like, the amount of people that I have met within the last 5 years that, like, basically didn't even know that ICP made a second Joker's card deck, or that they were even still doing shit at all, is staggering. Because the fact is, ICP in the original 6 Joker's cards was this like very specific mythos and ethos that they created, that then anytime somebody finds it, all of it's right there. You don't need anything else. You got those 7 albums. You have the whole story right there.
Younger Juggalos that I meet nowadays too, like out in public. And when I say younger, I mean like, anywhere from like teens to fucking 30, whatever. you know, a lot of them don't seem to know shit about the culture, don't seem to know shit beyond a few songs. They rep a fucking Hatchet Man and barely know what the fuck it stands for, you know?
Yeah, well, that's exactly how people can be fucking juggalos, but then go on to Insane Clown Posse's Facebook post and tell them, why are you being political about a rebel flag? Like, what the fuck do you mean? It's nonsense. And again, the whole thing is, bro, a lot of people use this scene as a social circle. It's not because they feel it for real. It's because they have nowhere else to make friends. And it's like, you want to know what? Fine. But at a bare minimum, act like you've been there and don't be a piece of shit. Because the whole thing is
distinction on something else you said though too.
What's that?
You know, since we're just kind of talking about their personal lives a little as well, you know, people shouldn't be all up in their personal shit. They shouldn't care too much. But on that other hand, you know, for how many people can say for 30 years, whatever, that they have a family thanks to ICP, that they have a community, that they have friends, that they have a voice, that they're not fucking dead because of ICP. The same amount of people that will jump and say, oh, fucking Jay's on drugs, fuck this guy, or oh, the new album, give me a new album, fuck you, it's gonna suck anyway, but give me a new album, you know, like all these fucking haters and talking all this shit. It's like, you can't both credit these people with being like one of the singular sources of your fucking happiness and also just flip on them like that. I think that's
hey, listen, like I said, man, I personally think that it's like really silly that people will be so like the number of people that I have seen that have had to say, and it's ironic that a good amount of these guys are like juggalos that somehow support MAGA, but like there's so many different people that I've seen that basically are like, oh, the gathering sucks now, you should go to the float. The
float would make the gathering suck less? If 80% of people weren't saying how fucking lame it is now.
Well, you want to know what? I got to tell you, bro, this gathering this last year, having been gathering since 2003, I personally, even though that it's closer to civilization now than it was with Cave-In Rock or even Garrettsville, the gathering is just as crazy now as it ever was. The fact of the matter is now at the gathering, the craziness is a little bit more co-signed. Like they're more willing to just let the craziness happen. It wasn't so much we're going to be crazy and let's see what the fuck you do about it. It's not so much like that anymore. If you get pressed by security at the gathering now, people aren't fighting security at Legend Valley. People were way more willing to fight security at fucking Cave-In Rock, and they weren't really fighting people yet at the Garrettsville. Garrettsville was a very chill gathering spot. By the time it got crazy, that was when they kicked us out. 2005, it got too crazy, and they were like, "All right, that's fucking enough out of you guys." And then in 2006, they couldn't find anywhere, so last minute they did it on a big fucking farm. And everybody calls it the mud gathering, but we should call it the shit gathering because that was fucking cow pastures. So that was cow shit. That's what we were walking in.
Some of the shit you hear people bitch about is so absurd. Like, oh my God, all these fireworks, like shut the fuck up. Or I've heard people bitch when a golf cart goes by and there's a cloud of dust and they're like, that's so disrespectful. It's like, do you not realize that fucking 15, 20 years ago, your hero up on stage, as you were saying before, would ram his fucking golf cart into your car, half drunk off his ass, eating a bologna sandwich?
Like I was just saying that's an uneventful one right there. Like, oh, you just watch the fucking video from Family Underground. He was a menace. That man was wild, bro. Listen,
Shaggy,
my thing is this, bro. Here's the thing. This is what I gotta tell you.
I know people that have had their asses kicked by Shaggy.
I believe it, bro. So two things. One, I do have a story, but before that, I gotta be honest, man. Like with what you're saying, I appreciate what you're saying. I do think there is validity to it and I think there's value to it, but I'm also I'm not even going to disagree. I'm just going to say, bro, people have been fucking bitching. They will always bitch. There's never going to be a time they don't. And especially with the Juggalo community, when I said that shit earlier, I wasn't saying it for effect and I wasn't saying it because I just think it sounds cool. Juggalos are easily one of the most entitled fan bases on the planet. That is a fact of life. And if you don't want to accept that, it's because
half of us are the most grateful and humble, and half of us are the most entitled.
No, listen, okay, fair enough. Because by the way, that does speak to my opinion about what juggalos are and just the world in general. As above, so below. It is, and it's not.
Duality.
Exactly. And so the whole thing is with juggalo shit, I've had to come to a point with it because I'll keep it real with you, bro. I won't go super deep into it, but like, I'm mentally ill, and certain aspects of my mental illness center around being a juggalo specifically, or the fact that I got flown out in 2004, or the fact that my ex-wife was a juggalo and my son's like everything in my life comes from being every single fucking thing except for my blood family, and they are not unsupportive of it.
From some of my random friends, you know, that I've got through my life and shit, people that I deeply care about. 90% of the things that I value tie into juggalo, you know?
Yeah, no, for sure. And again, this is my point, is that when that is true, it's the kind of thing where some people could look at faith this way. Some people look at their fandoms this way, whatever. Like anything that you feel that strongly that you're going to carry with you, that is your identity. It's who you are. At a certain point, there has to become this level of, I don't care what you have to say about it. I don't care that you feel this way about it. Because the whole thing about being a juggalo, bro, there are tenets to our culture. Because of the way that it was set up, it's not just a group of people in a like area that happen to wear the same thing or feel the same way. It is very, very specifically laid out what we do, how we do it, how we feel about a lot of different things.
Very deep culture.
Exactly. And so the thing is, a lot of people, because the culture is built on radical inclusivity and also built on insanity, that they think that they're allowed to just put their own designs on it because, the whole idea is you can do whatever you want, right?
What enables that, though, is partially, as you said, duality. It's pretty much like you can have just about any opinion within the community, and you'll have 1,000 people that disagree with you, but you're going to find a good few hundred that rock it with exactly what you're saying. You know, we have so many different people. Some people feel it's a gang. Some people feel it's just a movement.
Listen,
like
okay, so here's the problem. Here's the problem. I'm just going to lay this out for you flat, because again, I know that you're young, and I know that maybe your experience of it has been a little bit different. I don't know necessarily that there's anybody genuinely banging a juggalo set right now. Now, when I was younger, I was told that there were. I never actually met them. But I'm going to tell you something right now. By the actual definition of what a gang is, juggalos are absolutely a gang. 100%. And I need you to know that beyond even just that, if you listen to the fucking music, literally from the first fucking album that they were ICP, they were like, hey, gangbangers, we're cool, right? Like, and they were saying we're cool, right? To both sides. That's what made it remarkable, because they were both
sideways.
They were, but this is the point. I know it seems like whatever at this point, but like, bro, I was saying forks up, forks down years before I knew what the fuck that shit actually meant. And then I met gangbangers, found out what was going on, and it was Bloods that I was hanging with. But the point here is that if I walked up to a fucking Blood, not know what was going on, and I said forks up, forks down, they would have fucking punched me before the fucking fork went down. So the fact that they were willing to fucking, ICP was two white boys from Detroit that was willing to get up publicly and say, possibly fuck the both of you. It's love to both of you, but it might be fuck to both of you, depending on how you feel about it. That was like
gang together, homie.
Well, but again, bro, that's exactly the point. The fact that they were willing to say that as white boys from Detroit, a lot of other fucking rappers were not talking about that shit. And the fact is, to this day, I got any number of homies that are juggalo that rep GD. So it's like, the fact is, juggalo culture still runs very closely to gang culture. The fact is, because it was so big, again, as above, so below, it is and it's not. Juggalos are a gang and they're not a gang. If you represent as a gangbanger as a juggalo, then you are. But the community in general, no, because they're just kids that listen to ICP. A kid from fucking from a nice neighborhood in fucking like
a lot of
Missouri
our shit
or
is
wherever.
individualized or ties into, as you said, other gangs. There's gang members that are also juggalos, but then it comes down to the point where when we're all together at the gathering and people throw their shit up, you're gonna see how many different fucking signs go up in the air.
Well, listen, bro,
past the gang shit. We're the deeper fucking group.
Well, okay, well, so it depends on how you look at it, but I'll tell you, it was either my first or my second gathering. I think it was my first, actually. I was walking up I don't think it was a hill, but it was the main stage in Garrettsville, and I think there was a fire going on, and Rude Boy, actually, he was DJing something, and, you know how they do the fucking parties on the main stage, and I seen this one chick fucking throwing signs and shit. And I had actually started hanging with gangbangers by that point, so I kind of knew what was going on. And I just kind of ended up gravitating towards her. And then we started talking. And basically, it turned out she was a Crip. And one of the things that she said was, and I'm not even going to say the word because it's fucking disrespectful to Bloods, and I know Bloods, but it's like SLOBS. That is a word that you should never say to somebody wearing red. And fucking what she said was, the only thing that sucks about being out here is all that word that are walking around out here, but like it's family, you know what I'm saying? And that's the thing. Honestly, I think that nowadays, I feel like I'd like to hope at least that if juggalos that were banging to the right and juggalos that were banging to the left met each other, that they would actually like be cool. I don't know, because kids nowadays, especially kids that are gangbanging, are way more prone to fuck shit. So I don't know. But like, I mean, again, the fact is, juggalo culture has been close to gang culture for a long time. And if you want any more proof of that, all you got to do is look at Ouija Mag. Like, my thing is this: I don't know the exact ins and outs of it, but so Mission Infect, right? You're familiar with that? Okay, so back in the day, the green villain from Mission Infect, homeboy is cripped the fuck out. Like, he's in the Bangin' in Lil Rock documentary. I couldn't point him out. I never watched it with him, and he never showed me, but he's in that motherfucker. Like, he got his throat slit when he was living out there and fucking didn't die. Everybody used to call him Arkansas. Now, when I was hanging with him a couple of years ago, he told me he had listened to some shit that Ouija made, and he was like, basically shocked at the level of knowledge that he was dropping in his music. So it's like, the whole thing about Ouija is that I think it's crazy that I don't think that a lot of people know that he's a gangbanger. Like, I think that a lot of people think that he's
deep, dude.
Yeah, like, well, bro, because here's the thing. Perfect example. Every juggalo is stacking their C's when they fucking spell shit online now. Like, yeah, like writing some shit with 2 C's behind it. They don't know why the fuck he does that. They don't know why people do that. So it's like, to me, it's an interesting thing, because this culture is something where if you get involved in it and you come into it and you approach it earnestly, you're going to get, because this is exactly what happened to me. You are going to be exposed to a world that a lot of other people don't actually know exists. Like, a lot of people don't know that gangbangers are extremely spiritual.
It will never die.
Oh, no, that's a fucking fact. And by the way, I say this because I was having this conversation with somebody the other day about, like, what's going to happen when the day finally comes that ICP, one or both of them pass. And like, I know a lot of people like worry that the culture is going to live on. I honestly don't worry about that, because the music is never going anywhere. It's out there. It's never going away.
Smaller. It's a fact. We'll become smaller, but we won't die out.
Oh, well, no, listen, the whole thing is
20, 30,000 of us that are dedicated to it will never fucking stop.
Well, so that's true, but the problem is that, bro, I've seen it happen 1,000 times. Juggalos will only gather. They won't go to fucking anything else that's not officially Hatchet represented. And I think that that's kind of silly, personally. There's so much, again, there's so much talent in the underground. There's so much cool shit going on that's like adjacent to Juggalo shit that's not specifically inside of it. But again, my thing is that I think that the Juggalo community is a strong enough community that we will always persist. But
we're like the deadheads, dude. We're gonna be here at least until our generation's fucking dead, you know?
Oh, well, no, listen, I'll tell you right now, that's the entire reason why I, and quite frankly, people like Wacko are doing what we are doing, or at least I would never speak for him, but why I try to do what I do, because I'll keep it 1,000 with you, bro. I don't know exactly the way that I'm going to make it happen, but as far as making music is concerned, I'm better now than I ever was. I'm never going to stop. And so I have full faith that one day I am going to see a level of success that is well beyond what I have had thus far. And I got to be honest, at this point, because of the way so many things have happened, very specifically my divorce and custody case, being a juggalo, I had to answer the question, what is a juggalo under oath? When basically trying to fight for fucking custody of my daughter. They were asking me what's a juggalo as though I was some kind of gangbanger fuck up. And the fact of the matter is, I am just a fan of music. That is the reality as far as why I'm a juggalo. But at the same time, I feel so strongly about this culture and about my friends that I've made through being a fan of this music that the way that I would fucking defend these people and the way that I would operate with them, maybe you would call that gang activity. Because you fucking tell me that, like, bro, again, I'm Jewish and I got homies that are Muslim. And if you're fucking telling me that my Muslim homies can't fucking come with me, then I don't fucking care what the Western Wall has to say or any of that shit. I'm a juggalo first and a Jew second. And that's a crazy fucking thing to say, but it's true. Oh, no. Well, okay. So, yeah, that's not an uncommon thing. There is a bunch of Jewish juggalos. I know a bunch of them. But at the same time, for me, the juggalo community is already a very, very small community on this planet. That's number one. Number two, my grandfather survived the fucking Holocaust. So as a juggalo that comes from that, I am one of maybe, and I'm going to be generous and say 100 people, probably less than that. But the fact that that shit happened, and then also in 2004, I just happened to make a fucking song with some guys that I met at the gathering because I watched one dude, the Green Villain, the guy I was just talking about, cock back and headbutt this motherfucker so hard that his skull started to bleed. And then he grabbed the motherfucker's head and licked the blood off of his head. I didn't even hang with them for the rest of that gathering. I just saw them do them. And then arbitrarily started linking up with them online because low-key was in the same message board that I was in. And like, leave that to that, bro. That moment is why my fucking children were born. You understand what I'm saying? Like, the fact that my grandfather had to survive the Holocaust for me to then go to Hebrew school and meet the kid that fucking introduced me to ICP in the Hebrew school. Like, are you for real? And then I end up fucking getting flown out to fucking Michigan by Violent J because the day that the Six Jokers card saga ended, he heard my shit and was like, hey, interesting. Hey, come here. Let's see if you're any good at this. And then it didn't even happen. Like, bro, I have literally, I swear to God, this is true. I left that man. He drove away that day. I flew home. I have never spoken to him again. I have never had another conversation with him. And I'm friends with a bunch of people that know him. But guess what? If he wants to fucking talk to me, he figured it out last time. He can figure it out again. If he wants to talk to me, he will. But the fact of the matter is, I'm not out here doing this shit because I was hoping that, I mean, let's be honest. At the beginning, I was definitely hoping that they would fuck with me. As I've gotten older, I've come to find that it may have even been better that they didn't. Because guess what? Now I can have whatever fucking opinion I want. And nobody can fucking tell me, oh, I don't know if you should say that. Like, here's a perfect example. And I actually am going to have to go in a little bit here. But like, bro, Darby O'Trill, number one of the dopest fucking acts to have ever touched the hatchet. That's how I feel. A lot of people, whatever. That's how I feel. Number
Darby's
two,
fucking sick.
Number two, he's from Florida. Okay? From Florida. He is from there. I don't know if he lives there on a consistent basis. I don't know the man's life, but he is from Florida and he's not on Juggalo Day. And here's the thing. I know a little bit of the inside baseball, not a lot of it, but it makes literally no sense to me that this is the guy who he's so dedicated to the fucking culture. He's so dedicated to the community.
Darby does not get enough push.
And he's dope. It's like the other thing too. He draws. Like, I don't know if the Skullbone soccer ball or Skullbone soccer, whatever. He posted the video the other day.
Art and shit.
It was, but the video was from his first gathering performance at Second Stage, and that fucking stage was popping. Like, and then this year at Second Stage, his fucking set was popping. Like the fact that like Juggalos genuinely fuck with this guy, and yet he keeps getting railroaded. Like I don't get it. But it's also one of these things where it's like that's exactly why
I think some of it may come down to his own decisions. You know, he has priorities musically, and that dude's anxious.
That's true. Listen, first of all, that while that's true, I can tell you personally, I know all about fucking anxiety, and in ways where like I basically because of shame and also because of the sensitive nature of some of it, I'm not going to bother going into the exposition of it, but I like my anxiety has led me into places mentally where I can understand why and how Jay has had some of the attitudes and opinions that he's had over the years as far as things like mental health and panic attacks and shit, because like I haven't had it quite to the same level as him. It's been much more extreme for him, but the mind is very powerful and it can convince you of some really horrifying things. And when in dealing with that, it's the kind of thing where like I also understand why he will just who the fuck is that? Where he'll just disappear for long periods of time and nobody really hears from him, because it's like being him mentally, I imagine that is a difficult state of affairs to it. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like he's dealt with a lot, and
he's a very stressed out guy.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point. And so it's like, but this is also why I was saying, I like when it turned out that he didn't really want to work with me, it would have been very easy to be like, oh, what the fuck, whatever. Like I had a couple of other people that I was talking to at the time. Obviously nothing came of it, but there were a couple other people I was talking to at the time that were like basically talking to me about, you know, like we could shop you to, you know, whoever. And I actually remember saying to him, all right, well, so I'll let you know how my meeting with Violent J goes, and then we'll take it from there. And then never heard from him after that. And the whole thing is, I could have, from that point, been like, oh, well, I'm going to try to approach this in more of a normal professional way and, you know, try to find my way through the music industry that way. But that's the whole thing, man. Like, I'm just a juggalo. That's why, like, from the merry-go-round broke down, like, there's nothing fucking mystical or fancy about it. I'm just a juggalo. Like, that's it. Like, I am a juggalo. I rap. I put my shit out. And because juggalos have the community that they do, a lot of my fans talk to each other and they're like, yo, did you hear his new shit? Like, a lot of people are supportive and they want to share it. And so with something like that, I mean, first of all, my heart is always with the juggalos, with anybody that would consider themselves my fan. Like, I really, the amount of good that has been done for me by these people is definitely, I'd like to consider proportionate to what they have told me my music has done for them. Because a lot of people have told me that my music has been what stood between them and suicide. I take massive pride in that. Every person that's ever told me that, I stopped registering names specifically after like years and years and years of people telling me this. And like, I don't take that as something where, you know, people call me a legend all the time. And while I appreciate that, and I appreciate the idea that I've been doing this for 20 fucking years and I never stopped. Like, matter of fact, I was having this conversation with Crossroom just recently, and I really appreciate this because it is true. There is a big difference between I've been rapping for 25 years and I started rapping 25 years ago, because if you've been rapping for 25 years, that means you've been doing it the whole time. I've been rapping fucking since 2000, roughly. Like, so 25, 26 years. I've taken hiatuses, but there's never been a year where I didn't release a song or I didn't do a show since then. Like, there have been periods where I slow it down because of life, whatever. But there's a lot of other people out there where like they started rapping fucking 25 years ago. They went hard for a while. It didn't work out. They put it down, did whatever else they did with their life. And then now they're trying to pick it back up out of nowhere, thinking that they're going to be met with the same level of response. Like, bro, all those fans are gone. They all moved on. The people that are still here, the people that were still here. Like my fans are the people that, for the most part, and I'm not saying there's a ton of them, but those are the people that have, by and large, been following me for. I was playing Arc Raiders with a homie yesterday, where he's fucking 23 years old. And he told me he's been listening to me since he was 12 years old. Like that to me is some shit. Where first of all, like, how the fuck do I ever stop when somebody tells me that? Like, I found your music in high school and I still listen to it now. Like, fuck, really? Wow. Like, because again, I don't ever look at it like I assume anybody knows who I am. I assume anybody is familiar with my work, whether I like, I know that you're a fan or I don't. I never assume that anybody would like, oh yeah, I know about you. And that's one of those things where I've become very realistic about ego, because I've just accepted that a lot of the people around me in this world are just going to have one. There's nothing you can do about that. If you exist in a world where the whole idea is image, same thing in acting, same thing in fucking advertising, same thing as all that shit. If you are in a world where how successful you are is going to be scrutinized, then that's the dynamic that you're going to be looking at. So it's just, at a certain point, that's exactly why I genuinely, years ago, I stopped worrying about what it was that anybody else had to say about me being a juggalo, how to be a juggalo, like how long I've been down. We called them merchalos back in the day. Nowadays, they call them fucking members of the Psychopathic Museum. Like, it's genuinely the kind of thing where that sucks. I thought that was funnier. But so, like, just because the merch trading now, like, bro, it makes me sad, because I do think that for both nostalgia and collector value, that an old original Psychopathic leather jacket is worth $1,000. I do, but I don't think that an original Malenko jersey, even a gold one, is worth $500. Like, maybe 400 if it's in pristine condition, maybe. But most of those jerseys were worn in insane conditions. So it's like, very few juggalos had enough.
Anything that's been through an actual Fago Armageddon instantly loses so much fucking value.
Bro, I remember a time before they called it Fago Armageddon. I remember back when they just called it the end of the show. I also remember a time when they didn't fucking sell tickets to it. So, like, the whole thing is, bro, I got to be honest with you. Here's the thing. A lot of juggalos online have brought Jay to task for saying buy or buy, but unfortunately, that's just the way that they operate now. Because a lot of people don't necessarily want to consider this, but juggalo shit is putting Joe Bruce's children through college. And I don't know what you know about college, but it's fucking expensive. So the fact is, these guys do have an incentive to make every dollar that they can. And in a world like this and in an industry like that, it's difficult to do. But unfortunately, because of the way that they built up, fuck money. I was raised up without shit. That's how I'll die. That's how I like it. All right, cool, fine. But at the same time, you do have to recognize that people grow up. So it's like, I think that a lot of people have these opinions about the juggalo community or how things should be or whatever. And this is my opinion, that anybody telling you how you have to do it or how you should do it, they're just trying to justify whatever they do. And so they need you to sign on to their shit so that they can look at other people and say, see, they agree with me. So,
when
like,
people ask me what they just are supposed to do at the gathering, I tell them whatever the fuck you want. You get to do whatever the fuck you want. You can go sit on the hill and fucking sleep all day. You can come down to the fucking main stage and get fucked up. You can wander the grounds and ignore the fucking music if you want. It don't fucking matter. Do what you like.
Exactly. I think that at the gathering, everybody does exactly what they're supposed to do. And the problem here is that some people are only there to do something fucked up so that then they can either get an ass kicking at a lesson, somebody can watch watch them get an ass kicking and learn that lesson vicariously, or somebody else is like that somehow that situation, like it will have sucked. But then the fact that somebody stood up for them is going to make that person feel like, again, the gathering is personified chaos. It's going to be good. It's going to be bad. But you have to be able to roll with it. And like when it stings a little bit, not get angry at the fact that that happens. Like I seen a video of a bitch getting mad that she got hit with a Faygo bottle. Where did you think you were? What did you think was happening here? Like, come the fuck on. I got to get the fuck out of here. Like, yeah, you're right. You really do. You really do need to get the fuck out of here. What do you mean? What just happened to me? Like,
from my first gathering, I loved it. I embraced it so hard, felt so at home, so fucking instantly. And a huge part of that, I think,
man. That's how it happens for a lot of us, bro. That you go once, you go to a show, you look around and you're like, yeah, I'm home. Yeah, this all makes sense to me. Like, and that's the crazy thing, because when you look at, and here's the thing, I'm definitely a fan of insanity too, don't get me wrong, but there's something about the breed of insanity that being a juggalo breeds, which is like, because again, bro, you want to see insanity? I was standing out.
Crazy shit. We'll all do some crazy shit, but we're still all here for each other.
Well, no, exactly, bro. I was standing outside on it was Lansdowne Street in Boston, right near Fenway Park. Excuse me. There's a new MGM, I think. There's some new concert venue over there, and so Gunna, he was part of Young Thug's crew, whatever. He was doing a show there. And I was just hanging out there on the street with the girl that I was with at the time, and a friend of hers who worked at a dispensary over there. And then I was also shuffling a fucking tarot deck at the time, and I was stupidly high. So this was like an anxiety-laden moment. But the concert let out like right at this moment while we were standing out there. And bro, it's like you sometimes forget how crazy it can be that just this enormous mass of people. And a lot of them, like, these look like guys that might be carrying guns. These look like girls that might be also carrying guns, or with guys that are like, it looked like a bunch of fucking, like, thug ass motherfuckers were rolling out on the street. And to me, the thing that made it remarkable was how many of them it was. Like, it wasn't like basically the show ended and everybody left at the same time. It wasn't like a rock show where they'll do the last song and then everybody's like, I don't give a fuck about the encore, and then half the crowd leaves. Like, everybody was still in there. And it's like that kind of craziness. That's kind of what I'm saying. Like, go to Summer Jam or go to one of those kinds of concerts. That's craziness where nobody gives a fuck about your well-being. You'll get the shit kicked out of you and nobody will help you up when they walk away. At the gathering, you'll get the shit kicked out of you, but somebody watching, if you don't get up and walk away, somebody will walk up and check on you. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not common everywhere else. Insanity actually is pretty common everywhere else in the world. But juggalos actually have this thing where it's like, I've dealt with some pretty fucked up shit myself. So when I see somebody else dealing with it, I'm kind of like, that's why, to me, what I love about the juggalo community now, and it wasn't always quite this way. The gathering was community, but in the beginning, it was much more just a festival. Nowadays, nobody will let you go hungry. Back then, some people would. But the point is that it's like, that is not a thing that exists most other places. And it's also, it only exists because we choose to make it exist. ICP would not continue doing the gathering every year. Yes, they lose money every year, but if they lost so much money every year, they couldn't even if they wanted to do it, they couldn't. So at that point, you look at it where there has to be some level of reverence for what the culture is actually supposed to represent. And to me, I think that, because again, here's a perfect example, bro. You're 24 years old. You sound like you have a pretty good handle on it, which means if you can figure it out, pretty much anybody else that's trying to be a juggalo can figure it out too. The whole thing is that you got to understand, bro, a lot of people,
self-explanatory if you're not fucking blind.
Well, so that's true, but you also have to understand a lot of people don't want to. A lot of people, they don't give a fuck about what it actually means. They're here for fucking pussy and drugs. They don't give a fuck about what it's really here for. And that's my whole thing. I've already,
I gotta tell you, into it for several reasons before ever knowing about the culture. Not only was my brother, hugely into it, and that, influenced me very, very young. I remember the Hatchet Man as far back as I can fucking remember. It's literally one of my earliest memories. But I was also that weird kid obsessed with fucking ninja movies and WWE and clowns. And then I got my ass
bro.
And people treated me like shit and spit in my face.
I need you to understand something, because you represent something that I've talked about before. The homie Zach the Terror, massive props to him. He exists in this same way. He exists in this same way because, like, again, how can somebody talk to you about your downness when, technically speaking, you were 2 years old when fucking you're 26, I think you said. That means, or no, 24. So that means that you had just been born when the fucking when Shangri-La came out. You were 2 when Hell's Pit came out. How can anybody tell somebody you were only alive since then? So how long you've been down mean literally anything? Like, exactly. That's my point. Like, how long you've been down, how many jerseys you've bought, how many gatherings you've been to, shows you none of that shit matters. The only thing that matters is, do you have love for the culture? Because if you don't have love for the culture, what the fuck are you doing here? Why would you bother? It's like, yes, you want to come here for like the funness of it. And again, I get that. But if you have no respect for the culture that you're getting that from, you deserve to be removed from it. So it's like, I don't know, hide it better, I guess. But it's like, again, really, to me, this has been a culture. I really should have just turned this off. This is a culture that fucking really has given people the opportunity to, again, it really is crazy how much it happens that way, where sometimes it takes a couple times to click, but you go to a show or you go to a fucking gathering and then like you just have this moment where it's like, fuck, man, where the fuck has this been my whole life? Like, this is exactly where I'm supposed to be. And the sad thing is,
friends 20 years sooner.
And you want to know what? I do get the gatekeeping aspect of it but I will tell you, and I'm glad that I didn't forget this point, I do keep the gate, but I don't keep the gate coming in. I keep the gate on the way out. If you want to, anybody is welcome to come in. That's the whole fucking idea. That, like, I'm not even allowed to say who can come in. That's literally a tenet of the culture.
Version of gatekeeping is just immediately introducing people to the slightly more vile aspects of our community, or roasting the absolute fuck out of them off the bat. And if they can't handle that, I mean, they might still find their way in the community, but from there, they'll make their own decision whether they want to.
Listen, I will tell you this. As a juggalo of 20 plus years, I want to make it very clear that probably the best part of being a juggalo is making fun of stupid juggalos, because I have had to have this conversation with a lot of people over the years. But the fact is, if you're a juggalo and you're for real about it, you need to recognize the fact that a huge amount of us, myself included, again, I'm 40, I've done some fuck shit in my life. We have earned our reputation. It is not from nowhere, okay? But the problem is that our culture is also built on this idea of you can be flawed, but you can also be decent. It just comes down to, how do you treat other people? If you're flawed and you have issues, mental illness, drug addiction, so forth, so on, a lot of the time you will make poor decisions. And I say that again, personally, I've done it myself, but you will still have like shame, or not, if not shame, you'll have a level of like, I actually I want to recover from this. I don't want to just keep being this way. Like there is some level of effort, and again, it's like, I'm not trying to just make blanket statements here. Don't get me wrong. There is always nuance to all of this, but at the same time, I do think that it's unfortunate in this culture that a lot of people are much more concerned about, like, basically, are you cool enough to be in this culture with us, as opposed
I've been shit talking that hardcore. I feel like, and I haven't been around forever, but I've seen enough.
Don't get me wrong.
I've talked to enough people that I do understand to a level what it used to be like. And for juggalos, the only reason we're cool is because we fucking tell each other we're cool. The only reason we're cool is because we fucking go out there and say we are, So for people to act above each other when somebody tries to enter the community, that's so bitch made. It's so fake.
Bro, so two things. Number one, I want to make sure that I was only pointing out the relevance to a certain extent.
Drug addicts. Like,
Well, no. Well, first of all, bro, unfortunately, the drug bridge should not have been allowed to get as big as it did, but there was nothing anybody could do about it once it happened. But
yeah.
But so two things. Number one, I need you to understand. I had only mentioned the fact that, you know, you being younger in relevance to what I was saying at that time. I don't think you being younger has anything to do with what you actually under. You seem to understand the culture just as well as anybody that's been around from my time. So I don't think so. That isn't a thing that's important. I was only saying that in the sense of there are certain things that I feel like it's easier to understand if you were there to see it. Like, it's hard to explain to people the way the Juggalos used to act. The way the Juggalos used to act is just different. It's like Juggalos used to be way, way, way more willing to beat the shit out of each other. It's just not, it doesn't happen that way anymore. Like, you see fights, people scrapping shit, but people ain't walking away like bloody and scraped out. Like that, like somebody might be a little bruised up, but that's about it. I ain't seen nobody get jumped at the gathering. Although I did hear at the gathering in 2016, somebody got cracked in the head with a rubber mallet. I don't know if that's true or not, but I heard there was a huge brawl that happened. And if somebody really got hit with a rubber mallet, that's definitely attempted murder. So
From what I know, that was a real situation.
fair enough. Again, my thing is I didn't look that deeply into it, but that is what I heard. And also, that's the whole thing where I don't know the ins and outs of it, but back in the day at Garrettsville, there was an area of the gathering where there was a cliff, like a really, really big cliff. And supposedly some kid was selling acid that wasn't actually acid. And well, I remember the post that Psychopathic Records posted about this kid supposedly accidentally falling off. And the thing is, as a kid, I just kind of accepted that. But then a year or two later, I was hanging with some juggalos that were like real juggalos, and they kind of put me down on the reality of that. And the whole thing is, bro, that I don't think juggalos, the good ones that I've met over the years, and also, by the way, the really like, here's a good example. I don't know how much y'all experience y'all have had with jail or going to jail. I've had very little experience with it personally. I've been very lucky, but I have had a little, and I've known some people that have been like career criminals, basically. And the thing is, juggalos in jail are one of two things. They're either one, fish, or they are two, the baddest motherfucker you've ever met. Stay away from him. Because juggalos, basically, that has been my experience, that it's either somebody that got caught up. Like, I cannot even tell you how many people that have told me that every juggalo they've met was basically a sex offender. Like, I've met a lot of people that have told me that. And I know that it's not, I know that it's not true. So I'm over here like,
you don't know how many juggalos you've met.
well, that's so true indeed. The thing is, I've never known any that were specifically, but it is a thing, unfortunately, that you hear about pretty regularly. But again, at the same time, like I'm saying, on the other side of that, like I've said, a lot of people that I've known that are juggalos that get down, like, I don't know if y'all remember Body Bag Syndicate, fucking Frankie Grudge and Iggy, but like Frankie was part of this crew that I knew about these guys. I didn't like really, I wasn't tight with them. I lived in Denver for a bit. Like, the short version is, I swear to God, there is a reason why juggalos were designated as a gang. Like, it didn't just happen arbitrarily. There are definitely some people, there's some juggalos out there that fucking get down. But the whole thing is
D&D playing drug addicts. I use that as a weird, mixture of everything. Half of us are some of the nerdiest, weakest, non-criminal people you've ever met in your life.
Park in the fucking house looks good, bro.
Lunatics. Some of us are absolutely insane and will crack your shit in 2 seconds.
Oh, yeah. No, and you want to know what, man? I think the thing that I like about it, and again, this has always been my experience, is that the baddest, wildest, downest motherfuckers that you know, they are usually the ones that are the most inviting, that are the most friendly, that are like, that would defend somebody who is much weaker. That's always been my experience, where I'll keep it real, bro. I had to grow into any grit that I might have. I was raised very sheltered. I'm not even going to lie, man. Like, I had to learn about the real world through being a juggalo. The only other thing that ever led me to understanding of the real world was the fact that I knew that my grandfather survived the Holocaust. When you know that that's part of your history, it's hard to look at the world and believe that the world is a just place. But being a juggalo, hanging out with the people that I've known over the years that have like really had to deal with just the fucking insane injustices of the world and society and fucking late stage capitalism, if we're being real.
Juggalos restore my faith in humanity.
No, absolutely, bro. Because you want to know what? Juggalos, in my opinion, are some of the best on the planet at making the best of a bad situation. Like, there's very few people that can, like, because to me, the whole idea of being a juggalo is laughing at shit you ain't really supposed to laugh at. Finding the humor in the things that, in most cases, would be humorless. Like, really, there's not supposed to be anything funny about somebody getting murdered. But if you smash their head with a big enough mallet, it becomes funny. So it's like, there really is, there's so much profundity and nuance to this culture that it's one of the reasons why I don't, like, I never accepted it as a kid, and I certainly don't now, but the amount of people that, like I said, they look at fucking magnets, how does that work? First of all, people think Jay said that. That's number one. I've seen people say it. People think that Jay said that. Second of all, what bothers me about it is that I understand on a baseline level why that sounds like a stupid thing to say. But I can remember listening to an episode of the Joe Rogan podcast where he had somebody on there who is, I wish I could remember the guy's name, but like very, very high in the world of academia and like research and all that kind of shit. And what he literally said was that a large amount of scientific research and progress is held back because of the ego of scientists who don't want to say, you're right now, I'm not right anymore. Because now they don't get as much money, they don't get as much funding, they don't get as much popularity, yada fucking yada. And so Shaggy's saying, I don't want to hear from a scientist, y'all motherfuckers lying and getting me pissed. That's a fucking true statement. And I don't even think that he even meant it that way. But that's the way this shit works. That you just say the shit because it feels right, and then the universe fucking picks it up for you. They're like, oh, wait, I understand what you meant. Let's give it some time so that people can actually understand what you were talking about. The fact is, the concept of miracles is very, very simple to understand. It's not like it was a mystery. The fact is, they took it and ran with it, which was great. That was another one of the swell moments, by the way, when they were doing the SNL skits and all that shit. That was another moment where a lot of new people showed up. So it's like, again, the whole thing is, this is shit that's always going to, like, ICP has found a way to form fit itself to every era of pop culture that it's been a part of. It's fucking crazy. And part of the reason that's true, by the way, is the fact that we are just compelled to do it. And so at that point, I look at it where this is, oh, wow, you're already here. No, I know. Well, I've been doing this. But so this is the reason why I feel the way I do about this culture, man, because I like, again, it's introduced me to every person I know that matters to me, including my children. Other than my blood family, it has given me incredible experiences over the years. That's a child. But no, I know. Listen, mine are just old enough now that if they're gonna bother me, they're gonna come down and like ask me for something. But with like, or tell me that the Wi-Fi is not working. But no, it's one of the reasons why I keep doing shit like this and why I feel so strongly about it, because it has given me so much. And the only thing it's ever actually asked me back for is to just be present and be part of it and just be real about it. You know what I mean? Like, this culture will treat you well if you treat it well. Like if you treat juggalos well around you, they will do the same. At least that's been my experience.
There's a lot of feedback in it, you know. Juggalos are the type of people that, pretty much as you're saying, you know, you show them a little bit of respect, they're going to show you all the love in the world. You know, you disrespect us, you can go fuck yourself. All right, fuck me, I guess. End this out on, I don't know, whoop whoop, fuck.
God damn it, Ron, what are you doing? Yes, of course, I fucking press one wrong button and off it goes. But
I was just about to end. I was like, "Fuck me," I guess.
no, I know it's been no, of course not. That would suck. What an asshole I would be. No, listen, bro. Thank you so much for having me on. I would be glad to fucking we could do this again sometime. I hope I did not too strongly dominate the conversation. I have a bad tendency of doing that, but I very much appreciate you having me on. And again, bro, like I said, 20, 30, 40, it doesn't matter. You clearly understand this shit, and you clearly are here for a good reason. So like, I'm about it, bro.
Oh yeah, homie. And don't worry about dominating any conversation. I'm awkward and bad at fucking talking. Lee, he's silent as fuck anyway.
Bro, you are actually better at interrupting me than most people. You did a very good job at that. So much love, bro. I will talk to you again. Everybody that was here, I sincerely appreciate it. If there's anybody that's been here for fucking 2 hours and 40 minutes, I love you. But then obviously I said that's much love to you, sir. But
been here the longest.
No, absolutely, sir. I will holler at you, man. It has been a pleasure. You take care.
You too, homie. On this out. Whoop whoop, everybody. Fucking have a good night.